Chapter 1400. The three geniuses from the Thousand Flames Palace clicked their tongues. That's too scary. What kind of monster is that? 1850 times expansion of acupoints and 230 times condensation of acupoints. In terms of pure strength, his basic strength has reached 925 billion dragon power points. An ordinary perfect 5th level saint would only have about 150 billion dragon power points after expansion. Zhao Mingyu, on the other hand, was able to kill an ordinary perfect 5th level saint when he was only at the perfect expansion realm. Even the people from the Purple Cloud King Valley turned pale. They knew very well that the expansion realm was only building the foundation. On average, one saint point is 185 times expansion. That's 5 billion dragon power points. Based on the condensation realm's 23 times expansion, that's 23 times 5 billion dragon power points. Even the arrogant Zi Tianhu could not help but twitch his mouth. 23 times 5 billion dragon power points would be 2,127. 5 billion dragon power points. In other words, Zhao Mingyu could obtain more than 2,100 billion saint points by opening one saint point. With 10 saint points in the condensation realm added together, his combat strength when he was at the perfect condensation realm was over 22,200 billion dragon power points. 22 trillion dragon power points. This combat strength was enough to kill an ordinary saint at the star receiving realm. He was a true monster who could challenge those at a higher level. Moreover, he was a monster who could challenge those at 2 levels higher. Most importantly, this was only the combat strength he had when he opened 50 saint points and was at the perfect condensation realm. Right now, Zhao Mingyu was at the life and death realm. He had opened 56 saint points. No one knew just how strong he was. Just like how Lin Shun had used the slow rune on Zhao Mingyu, it did not even manage to stop him. It only managed to delay him for 1/100th of a breath. If Lin Shun wanted to defeat him, even with the experience of a rank 8 sect, no matter what angle he looked at it from, there was no chance of him winning. They recognized Lin Chen's courage and potential, and even more so, they recognized that he was full of courage at such a young age. However, in this world, the winner would always be the king. Only strength was everything. To be more extreme, based on the information that Lin Shun had obtained from the rank 8 sect, with Zhao Mingyu's foundation and Saint Energy defense, even if he stood there and let Lin Shun hit him, Lin Shun might not be able to break through his defense. Therefore, Li Xue was confident that Zhao Mingyu could crush Lin Shun. Just the acupoint expansion alone was enough to stop him and take back the little demon empress with the smallest price. Moreover, Lin Shun had just forged a new saint artifact, so he hadn't replenished much of his set's essence yet. It was difficult for the 4-piece War God set to display too much power. Lin Shen's only chance of victory was the slowing rune and acupoint expansion. Not only Yuexin, but everyone also subconsciously looked at Lin Shun. That's right. What confidence did he have to defeat Zhao Mingyu? Lin Shun said with a smile on his face. Why should I be so sure? You rely on your opponent. You don't know how strong I, Lin Shun, am. Yuexin's heart trembled. These words were arrogant to the extreme. But there was a kind of arrogance in them that looked down on the world without any conceit. When Lin Shun broke into the holy prison, he had fought with too many top experts. For example, if an ordinary person was placed in an environment where he had to fight with tigers and lions all day long, and was suddenly placed in an environment with a pack of small wolf dogs, not only would that person not feel that the wolf dogs were fierce, but they would also feel that they were a little cute. This was an absolute transformation that originated from one's mental state. Yuexin's cherry lips parted slightly. Just as she was about to ask Lin Shun, he pretended to laugh evilly. Ha, beauty, you right? The good show is yet to come. Don't be in a hurry to know everything. Sometimes, it's not the best to know everything in advance. Being subtle is the art. Just like when you're about to get married, wouldn't it be boring if you knew the groom size in advance? You have to witness this process yourself and explore it with your own hands, understand? UXNR was stunned at first. Then her face flushed red as she spat out. Lecture. Lin Shen laughed and left with everyone. Skysplit Tower was located in the center of Flying Dragon City. Lin Shen had to first settle everyone down and prepare well before entering Skysplit Tower to expand his acupoints in one fell swoop. Flying Dragon City, Cloud Cauldron Tower. There was a floor in this tower that was specially used to entertain distinguished guests of 7th grade and above. Just as Lin Shen and his group entered, hearty laughter could be heard. Ha ha, look who's here. Our protagonist is here. TSK, TSK. The first thing he does is to steal the bride. Lin Shen's temper is still the same. Otherwise, how can he be called the Pill Region's Heaven's Choice champion? This is the boldness that our champion should have. Little Demon Empress and Heaven's Choice champion. A perfect match. Ha ha. A group of figures sat in the hall on the second floor of Cloud Cauldron Tower, as if they had been waiting for a long time. Once they saw Lin Shen arrive, they all teased him. Lin Shen was delighted. It was actually Elder Shen and his group from the Realm Tower, as well as the Pill Region's Elder Guild and Song Ilian. People from both sides were here. Hearing their teasing, Lin Shen already guessed that they had secretly observed the situation in Wulong City. Everyone took their seats and gathered in the hall. At this time, the little demon Empress Ant couldn't help but ask everyone from Myriad Flame Palace. All right, may I know who the seniors are? The people from Myriad Flame Palace were also confused and could only look at Elder Myriad Flame. Elder Myriad Flame said with a smile, I've already said that you have fate with the savior of my Myriad Flame Palace. You could be considered my Myriad Flame Palace's savior. Meeting Myriad Flame Palace at the Yi family's banquet was indeed a coincidence. And the item that Lin Shen gave to Myriad Flame Palace was an arrow fragment used by the heaven-burning arrow saint, Qi Fian. And the savior of Myriad Flame Palace was Qi Fian. Back then, Qi Fian had met the founders of Myriad Flame Palace and risked his life to save their lives in a battle against the devil race. Since then, Myriad Flame Palace and Qi Fian had an indissoluble fate. It could even be said that if it wasn't for Qi Fian, there wouldn't be today's 8th-ranked sect, Myriad Flame Palace. Among all the servants that Lin Shen brought back from the 19th floor, they more or less gave Lin Shen a keepsake. It allowed him to rely on the forces that he trusted the most back then and obtain considerable help. I see. The people from Purple Cloud King Valley were deep in thought. Lin Shen, although I really want to discuss alchemy with you, you need to save your energy and expand your acupoints in one go to snatch back your confidant. Song Ilian clenched her fists and encouraged Lin Shen. Lin Shen blushed. Cough, cough, cough. A good friend, not a confidant. The little demon Empress rolled her eyes. Elder Shen stroked his beard and smiled. I've always believed in this little guy. Lin Shen cupped his fist seriously. Elder Shen, I'll never forget your care back then. If you need anything, feel free to call me. TSK, the Realm Tower took care of you, Lin Shen. Didn't we take care of you too? Lin Shen, you little brat. I was wondering why you didn't call us when you were fighting. So you went to snatch the bride. How long has it been, and you've already forgotten about our Qing Sheng? When a group of figures walked into the meeting room, Lin Shen was shocked. Everyone from Sword Region was here too. Chapter 1401. He's handsome, so he flirts quickly. His speed of flirting is almost as fast as changing clothes. Lin Shen, is this the answer you're giving us? A group of people walked into the Cloud Cauldron Inn. When they opened the door, the three elders looked at Lin Shen with sharp eyes. Grandfather. Her bright red hair was as beautiful as fire, and she frowned slightly as she rebuked the three elders. The three old men in the lead were the three old men from the Sword Region who had helped Lin Shen back then. Jian Qing Cheng, Jian Cheng, and the rest had also arrived at Dragon City. None of the top forces were willing to miss out on this grand event. The battles on the Demon Genius list were unparalleled since ancient times. Look at you. You haven't even married into the family, and you're already speaking up for this brat. Aren't you afraid that he'll bully you after you marry him? No, you can't do this. The Sword Emanation's elder's face was serious. Lin Shan stood up and laughed. Seniors, you must be joking. I'm just helping my good friend out of trouble. What are you talking about? Jian Cheng waved his hand and laughed. Don't mind them. These three old guys are just acting up again. Huh. Lin Shan invited everyone to take a seat. As he talked and laughed, he was calm and terrifyingly confident. He didn't seem like someone who had just caused a ruckus in the Yi family. Lin Shan, you must save Miss Yi Qingwu. Jian Qingqing's serious expression immediately made the three old men cough. Girl, why are you speaking up for an outsider? Jian Ming criticized Jian Qingqing, and the sword emanation's elder looked at the little demon empress with caution. This woman was indeed a beauty who could bring disaster to a country. In some ways, she was even better than their precious granddaughter, Jian Qingqing. The top 10 beauties on the monstrous genius list were not just for show. The little demon empress smiled at Jian Qingqing, and it was extremely charming. Thank you. Don't worry, I won't fight with you for Lin Shan. Jian Qingqing shook his head. Miss Qingwu, that's not what I meant. My mother personally left the sword domain when I was young. I understand the feeling of cherishing one's family very well. Miss Qingwu, who is in between the two aristocratic families, must have suffered a lot. So, Jian Qingqing clenched her fists and pretended to be fierce as she said to Lin Shan. So, if you don't win, I won't let you go. Lin Shan shook his head and chuckled. Before he could say anything, Song Ilian spoke up. Lin Shan, if you want to expand your acupoints, perhaps there is something that can help you. She flipped her palm, and a glazed jade box appeared. Countless spiritual threads intertwined around it, as if it contained endless spiritual imprints. Just a glance at it could cause a saint's mind to become chaotic. Lin Shan was curious. This item must be a high-level saint pill. This is one of the 2 holy elixirs that she refined when she was in an excellent state. The 7th grade holy elixir, Bodhi transformation holy elixir. The pill region elder stroked his beard and said with a smile, this elixir can increase the possibility of breaking through the bottleneck when expanding your acupoints to the limit. It can help you expand your acupoints even further. As for how much it can expand, it depends on the accumulation of the user. Everyone was shocked. A 7th grade holy elixir. The Pill Region Elder Guild was really willing to help. Even a powerful 8th grade sect like the Thousand Flames Palace couldn't take out a 7th grade holy elixir just because they wanted to. Take it. This is your reward for leaving your alchemy outline with the Elder Guild. Song Ilian threw it to Lin Shan casually. Although her words were beautiful, everyone present knew that her purpose was obvious. Firstly, she had high hopes for Lin Shan. Secondly, she wanted to do him a favor. The icing on the cake would always be broken with a touch. The friendship of providing help in times of need was the hard bridge. Bodhi transformation holy elixir? All right, I will accept the Elder Guild's kindness. Lin Shan happily accepted the holy elixir. He really needed it. Lin Shan smiled meaningfully. I, Lin Shan, only like to make my enemies suffer. I don't like to make my friends suffer. I have already accepted the Elder Guild's kindness. When the time comes, I will send back a surprise gift. Soon, your Pill Region Elder Guild will receive it. The Pill Region Elder was stunned. What was this little guy trying to do? The surprise gift Lin Shan was talking about was naturally the creation elixir saint, Yu Wangsheng. Yu Wangsheng's relationship in the Pill Region was not small. If he returned, the Pill Region Elder Guild's power would increase greatly. Lin Ping, who was beside him, was drooling. He pulled Lin Shan's sleeve and said, "What is this good food? Let me see." Lin Shan smiled and said, "This is not for you." Although the Sword Region elders wanted to ask about Lin Shan's trip to the Holy Prison, they restrained themselves in the end. After all, without seeing it with their own eyes, it was impossible to imagine how a person could sneak into the Holy Prison and escape unscathed. After a short discussion, the various parties stood up and bid farewell. They congratulated Lin Shan in advance and cheered him on. Lin Shan was staying on the same floor as the Purple Cloud King Valley's people. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Where did this poor ghost come from? You can't even afford a room, and you want to stay in the Cloud Cauldron Inn? In the corridor, a servant was driving 2 people away. It was a white-haired old man in simple clothes and two white-robed little girls. They were pure and flawless. "Sir, please excuse me. This old man did not bring enough Saint Origin coins with him. How about I write an IOU?" The white-haired old man smiled kindly. The servant impatiently waved his hand. "Shoo, shoo, shoo, shoo. You want to stay here and write an IOU? Are you kidding me? I don't have time to waste with people like you. If you don't scram, I will call someone to kick you out." "Sir, let me pay for your room. How much is it?" At this time, Lin Chun and the others walked over. When the servant saw the group and the atmosphere, he immediately changed his expression and smiled. "Sirs, this old man wants to stay in our best room. The fee is 100 gold Saint Origin coins a day." Lin Chun waved his hand and paid the fee for the old man. The servant immediately handed over the room card and instructed the servant in a good voice. "Little brother, thank you." The white-haired old man thanked him. Lin Chun smiled and nodded. Just as he was about to leave with the crowd, Lin Ping and looked at the old man and the two girls in a daze. His expression became more and more vigilant. Lin Chun seemed to feel that something was wrong. When he broke into the Yi family, Lin Ping, and did not even put the Yi family's experts in his eyes. But now, he was wary of these three people. The white-haired old man looked at Lin Ping and with a sigh, "Oh, it's you. I didn't expect you to have a complete spirit body." Lin Ping and was puzzled and vigilant. "Do we know each other?" The old man shook his head. "No, but this old man has seen you before." With just one sentence, Lin Chun was instantly on guard. Seen? There were very few experts who had seen the painful disaster in this day and age. What was the origin of this old man? The white-haired old man noticed Lin Chun's abnormality and smiled. "I don't have any evil intentions. By the way, little brother, this old man wants to ask you a question." Lin Chun did not bat an eyelid. "Senior, feel free to ask." The white-haired old man stared into Lin Chun's eyes and suddenly said, "Little brother, what do you think a god should be like?" As soon as the old man said this, Lin Chun and the others fell silent. Chapter 1402. Zitianhu and the rest were horrified. In the sacred boundary, it was taboo to talk about God. Had this old man lost his mind? The white-haired old man had a kind look, but his eyes became sharp as he stared at Lin Chun, as if he wanted to hear his answer. Lin Chun shook his head. "I can't answer this question, because I don't believe in God." The white-haired old man was surprised and asked, "Then what do you believe in?" "This." Lin Chun stretched out his fist. "I only believe in myself and my fist." The white-haired old man was stunned, but he immediately laughed out loud. "Ha ha, interesting, interesting. You are a very interesting person. Yes, this old man is looking forward to your next performance." Looking at Lin Chun with deep meaning, the white-haired old man left with the two little girls. The little girl on the left asked curiously, "Great-grandfather, who is stronger between this little brother and sister?" The white-haired old man smiled pleasantly. "Naturally, your sister is much stronger. However, after he expands his acupoints, he might surpass your sister in the future." The little girl was very surprised. "Wow, this brother is so strong. Can he surpass my sister?" "Hee, anything is possible. Even if your sister is a natural saint, there will always be someone stronger in this world." "Grandfather, can you continue to tell us the story from last time? What happened after Lin Xingchen fell? What about his family? Did they not save him?" "Haha, this question has stumped me, your great-grandfather." Lin Chun looked at the white-haired old man's back as he left and clicked his tongue in wonder. The Heaven Stairway competition was indeed full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. This old man was also an old monster. His background might be even more terrifying than Zue Lao. On the night Lin Chun and the rest stayed in the Cloud Cauldron Inn, the various dragon cities were in full swing. Lin Chun from the Mystic Domain caused a ruckus in the Yi family, snatched the Yi family's 10 most beautiful little demon empress, and stopped the wedding. Both sides made a bet to expand their acupoints. This is too shocking. Let's go and take a look at the Tower of Babel. I'm not optimistic about this young man. I've seen Zhao Mingyu's talent with my own eyes. An elder at the early stage of the star receiving realm couldn't last more than 3 rounds against Zhao Mingyu. This kid is a real monster. He would be one of the strongest in an 8th rank sect. I heard that there are bets on Lin Xian with odds of 1 to 100. Bullshit, I'm Zhao Mingyu. Bah, F asterisk King Lin Xian. You're Lin Xian? What right does he have? Because he's more handsome than me. In less than a day, the news of Lin Xian causing havoc in the Yi family had spread to all the forces. Within the various dragon cities, there were even many forces that specially rushed to the outside of Tong Tian Tower to wait. There weren't many opportunities to see such an intense confrontation and challenge such a monstrous figure in front of the competition. There were even people outside the venue who started to place bets on Lin Xian, betting that he would expand his acupoints several times. For a time, the various dragon cities became more and more lively. Lin Xian and Zhao Mingyu were standing in the teeth of the storm, in an elegant attic in the flying dragon city. Is this the Lin Xian that the goddess mentioned? He has an arrogant temperament, but doesn't have enough strength. He's just a boorish fellow. Breaking 9 acupoints consecutively when becoming a sage is just so. There are more than one sage who can break 9 acupoints consecutively in our Divine Flame Palace. I don't care about that. Potential is potential. Combat strength is combat strength. Moreover, the rules of our Divine Flame Palace can't be changed by one's fist. What's more, it has to be matched by a powerful force and sect. Even if Lin Xian expands his acupoints more than Zhao Mingyu, he's not qualified to touch a hair of the goddess. The geniuses of the Divine Flame Palace gathered here and held a disdainful attitude towards this matter. Only a scholarly man asked the handsome young man in the hall with a smile on his face. "Oh, you seen that Lin Xian? What do you think?" The mischievous girl rushed to answer first. "Amazing. I like it very much. It's a pity that they didn't fight. I want to see how he beats up the Yi clan or is beaten up by the Yi clan." The elegant man shook his head and laughed, looking at his senior brother. The handsome man nodded and smiled. His words were concise and comprehensive. A person who transcends common sense will turn into a dragon when faced with a storm. This person is a formidable opponent. In the Cloud Cauldron Inn, Lin Xian sat alone in his secret chamber. Lin pinged and slept peacefully beside him, with sugar coating still hanging in his mouth. Lin Xian opened the system and clicked on his talent column. System, I want to use the orange grade talent enhancer to strengthen the supreme God possession talent. Lin Xian had obtained the orange grade talent enhancer once before. The talent strengthened by this item would undergo earth-shattering changes. Supreme God possession had the effect of both passive and active talents. Strengthening this talent was the most effective and direct upgrade. System replies the host. Supreme God possession is a special growth talent. It cannot be strengthened. Please choose again. Huh? Lin Xian's mouth twitched. It could not be strengthened? Could it be a fake? After a few confirmations, Lin Xian found out that the enhancer could only strengthen support-type talents such as Extinction, Split Shadow, Absolute Life and Death, Super Chaos, or one-time talents such as Heaven Defying and God Slaying. No matter which permanent orange-grade talent I strengthen, the benefits will be significant. If I really have to choose, the one that can kill the enemy the most is Extinction. After some thought, Lin Xian decided to strengthen his Extinction Rupture talent. Consumed 100 million advanced talent points. Host has successfully strengthened Extinction. It has been upgraded to Intermediate Orange Grade. Intermediate Orange Grade talent, Extinction. Consume talent points to activate an attack with an additional injury that cannot be healed. If the attack breaks the enemy's defense and hits the enemy, the injury will continue to expand rapidly and cannot be healed for a long time. The injury will expand and cannot be healed. The previous effect of Extinction was enough to make the enemy's injury unable to be healed. Now, the injury would gradually expand as time passed. In other words, Lin Xian would have the absolute advantage in a prolonged battle, unless the enemy was so strong that they could not even break the enemy's defense. Acupoint expansion and condensation realms are only building the foundation. This time, I must adjust myself to the best condition. In terms of accumulation, training, and foundation, there should not be many people in the sacred boundary who can come close to me. Other than those who are inferior to the legendary saint geniuses, I, Lin Shun, can defeat them in every aspect. Lin Shen's eyes were filled with absolute confidence. Once he entered the acupoint expansion realm, the benefits of acupoint expansion were far beyond what ordinary people could hope to achieve. His supreme God possession talent passive effect, the effect of all cultivation techniques, increased by 300%. As for Lin Shen's Tai Futian mantra, he had opened up the Tai space and obtained a perfect virtual sacred point. Coupled with the passive effect of supreme God possession, the effect would be increased by 4 times. In other words, Lin Shen's final acupoint expansion would be increased by 4 times due to the effect of the Tai Futian mantra. Chapter 1403. Even if Lin Shen's Saint Acupoint Expansion Multiplier was the same as Zhao Mingyu's 1850 times, with the extreme God possession and the Tai Heaven Fu technique, his Saint Acupoint Expansion Multiplier was 9,250 times. Lin Shen needed a good rest now. He needed to be in his best condition. During the time he was in the sacred penitentiary, he had not rested at all. This was not good for expanding his acupoints. Expanding one's acupoints required a sage to be at their peak. If Lin Shen were to expand his acupoints now, it would be like pushing a duck onto a perch. He needed to be in his best condition before he could unleash his full strength. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Lin Shen did not step out of the house. He was recuperating the entire time and did not cultivate. Occasionally, he would read some relaxing books to relax his mind, such as Time Management, The Ultimate Challenge, My Cultivation Method Depends on X. He was completely relaxed. Finally, on the 4th day, Lin Shen came out of seclusion. There were less than 5 days left before the Stairway to Heaven competition. Flying Dragon City was packed with people. All the rank, 8 sects had gathered near the Tower of Babel. A monster prodigy was about to walk into the Tower of Babel to expand his acupoints when he realized that there were countless pairs of eyes staring at the Tower of Babel in the center of Flying Dragon City. As soon as he appeared, he was scanned by countless powerful people. He was flattered. Is it this kid? No way. Although he's quite young, he's so different from what I imagined. What are you looking at? That kid is not Lin Shen. Many powerful people were talking in the void. So many powerful people are here to see me expand my acupoints. Looks like they have high hopes for me. That monster prodigy laughed, feeling good about himself. A lady next to him sneered. Stop being so smug. They're not here to see you. You should pay attention to the latest news. Whoosh! Lin Shen arrived at the entrance of the Tower of Babel in a flash of light. Countless powerful beings who were releasing their spiritual wills all fixed their eyes on Lin Shen. Lin Shen released his perfect Saint Rudiment realm mental energy and felt no pressure at all. He walked slowly to the entrance of the sky-split tower, causing many almighties to be surprised. This young man, it's him. I can't feel the saint energy in his saint point. Strange, very strange. Is this the Lin Shen who dares to fight with the enforcement team of the Genius List? He doesn't seem to be anything special. Flying Dragon City, inside a secret pavilion. A few powerhouses who were in charge of organizing the Stairway Heaven tournament stood in the main hall and cupped their fists respectfully towards the 3 figures in the dark. I didn't expect the 3 of you to come in person. Please forgive me for not going out to meet you. In the darkness, 3 towering figures sat and transmitted their voice to each other. We're here for one person. The few mighty figures were puzzled and asked, why are you all here? A few days ago, he challenged Lin Shen from the enforcement team of the Genius List. I heard that he's here too? Yes. The one who spoke was Zue Laowang. He's about to expand his acupoint. I've already arranged a location for him in the Sky-Split Tower. Zue Laowang wanted to say something, but stopped. Expand his acupoint? The 3 figures were stunned. Should we summon him here? No. If this kid has something to do with that woman, we can't touch him easily. Let's see how his acupoint expansion is going. After the 3 of them talked, one of them said seriously, don't disturb him for now. Let him expand his acupoint first. We'll interrogate him later. In the sky-split tower, a mature, beautiful woman took Lin Chen's jade monster token and smiled. Prince Lin Shan, right? Senior Zui Lao Wang asked us to wait for you. We've already prepared the acupoint expansion secret room on the highest floor of the sky-split tower for you. Please follow me. Okay. Thank you, Senior. The beautiful woman led the way. Lin Shan was about to step into the sky-split tower when, class monitor, a loud shout came. Lin Shan was startled and turned around. In the palace in the distance, Fairy Scarlet led the team alone. Behind her were all Lin Chen's acquaintances. Everyone from Class 66, Han Ziyun, Ning Qingxian, Yin Qianyun, Yun Manqing, Lung Yueqi, and Yun Manqing, who had joined the heart-refining palace and had not seen for a long time. Everyone was here. Class monitor, you'll definitely surpass him. Class monitor, Ms. Yueqi said that she doesn't mind you picking up another one. You can let go. I was wrong. Brother, I always believe that you can create miracles. Don't care about his ranking on a monster ranking list. Just do it. Lin Lang, don't give yourself too much pressure. In the face of everyone's cheers, Marshal Lin was so moved that he cried. What's going on? Why is everyone here? Fairy Crimson winked at Lin Shan, smiled sweetly, and transmitted her voice. How could I miss your glorious moment? The importance of acupoint expansion is equivalent to a mortal becoming a saint. When you became a saint, you could explode 9 acupoints in a row. How can your acupoint expansion be ordinary? I'm still waiting to serve you as my master. Lin Shan smiled speechlessly. He gave everyone a thumbs up, turned around, and stepped into the sky-split tower. At this moment, the mighty figures were staring at the sky-split tower were talking with each other, using their sacred power. He's gone in. Is he finally coming? How many times do you think this kid can expand his acupoints? Hey, the total acupoint expansion of an ordinary genius is only 160 to 200 times. Those who can expand their acupoints by 400 to 500 times are the cream of the crop. In the future, they will advance to the transformative realm, life and death realm, and star realm. Although this kid dares to fight, his talent is too strong. His bloodline and physique are ordinary. I don't think he can expand his acupoints by more than 700 times, let alone surpassing a monster like Zhao Mingyu. If he can expand his acupoints by more than 1,000 times, he is basically a famous monster on the Demon Genius ranking. Although Zhao Mingyu is very arrogant, he does have the qualifications to look down on most of the geniuses. Almost 2/3 of the powerhouses from the Grade 8 and Grade 7 sects had come to watch the stairway competition. They want to see how many times this popular young man could expand his acupoints. Even the 3 high-ranking officials who had come to watch the stairway tournament sent out their spiritual thoughts to observe the scene. Outside the Cloud Cauldron Tower, 2 innocent little girls asked curiously, "Great-grandfather, how many times can he expand his acupoints?" Sister's acupoint expansion was 1. Shoo! The white-haired old man made a shushing gesture. The white-haired old man looked at the sky above the sky-split tower again. A spatial light screen showed Lin Chen's figure, and he muttered to himself, "Great-grandfather can't see through it either. This is the first time I've met someone who I can't see through fate." On the top floor of the sky-split tower, Zui Lao Wang had specially asked Lin Shan to enter the best spatial secret realm in the sky-split tower. When Lin Shan stepped into the spatial secret realm, it was as if all the pores on his body were released into an extremely relaxed state. A whirlpool of snow-white energy surrounded him, and Lin Shan's spiritual senses increased by many times. He was like a blunt knife that was being sharpened and sharpened. My spiritual senses have increased by a lot. This spatial secret realm has a special energy that stimulates the holy body and spiritual senses. In this state, whether it's comprehending techniques or cultivating, it can be twice the result with half the effort. It can also help me expand my acupoints and sense the location of my holy acupoints and holy power very clearly. Just as Lin Shan was about to take out the Bodhi transformation holy pill two cracking sounds came from his body. Lin Chen's pupils trembled. His holy acupoints were about to explode. Chapter 1404. In short, it was the skin-flipping water. Lin Chen did not need to sense the location of his Saint Acupoints. Stimulated by the space secret realm, his Saint Acupoints could no longer be sealed and were about to explode on the spot. Oh no, something's wrong. Lin Chen's expression changed slightly. He felt a sense of danger. The situation might be out of his control. If he could not control the power that exceeded his limits, he would have to pay a price. The Saint power that was about to burst out like a storm from Lin Chen's 30 Saint Acupoints tore apart all the restraints and rushed toward the 31st Saint Acupoint. Outside the heaven-reaching tower, everyone was staring at the space screen. It's here, it's here. It's finally here. How many times? Is it 50 times or 100 times? Or is it more than Zhao Mingyu? Lin Chen, you better King charge. I've already spent 10,000 Saint Origin coins on you. That's right. I don't care what kind of genius he is. I must beat him up. I'll make a prediction. 100 times. Go up. No matter how strong he is, he can't be stronger than Zhao Mingyu. Chi. Bang. The space shook, and the Saint power rippled like a dragon, causing the surrounding white light to scatter. Lin Chen's 31st Saint Acupoint had been opened. The sky prides of the Elixir Domain, Sword Domain, Mystic Domain, Yi Clan, Zhao Clan, Divine Flame Palace, and various monstrous geniuses on the Demon Genius rankings all stared at Lin Chen, afraid that they would miss a single detail. Bang, bang, bang. The 31st Saint Acupoint glowed with a hexagonal radiance. It was so bright that it was even more dazzling than Lin Chen's previous 30 Saint Acupoints. Every time the Saint Acupoint exploded, it would set off a large-scale space ripple. Lin Chen's Saint Acupoint exploded 13 times in an instant. The Acupoint expansion has begun. 12 times, 13 times. Just as an expert exclaimed, Lin Chen's 31 Saint Acupoints exploded 13 times in a row. The Saint power rippled toward the 32nd Saint Acupoint. However, the Saint power in Lin Chen's body suddenly stopped. It was as if it had disappeared. All the sounds in the Flying Dragon City disappeared in an instant. Just like Lin Chen's Saint power that had disappeared. Silence, a strange silence ensued. What was going on? What the hell is going on? Everyone had predicted many different outcomes, but none of them had expected this to happen. Ha ha, you're just an ant trying to shake a tree. On the east side of the Flying Dragon City, Zhao Mingyu's unbridled laughter came from the Spirit Moon Pavilion that was reserved by the Zhao clan. It was simply laughable. Everyone in the Zhao family shook their heads and laughed. Yi Lixue frowned. Even she found it hard to believe. 13 times? This young man is too ridiculous. Below the heaven-reaching tower, all the geniuses who were waiting to watch a good show were stunned for a moment. Then they laughed so hard that they collapsed on the spot. Amazing, too. King amazing. Haha. 13 times? His first Saint Acupoint has expanded by 13 times? Oh my god, is he a hoodlum? How did he get on the monster genius list? The lowest on the genius list was at least 15 times the Acupoint's expansion, right? I'm afraid this is a fake evildoer. Haha. No, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to die of laughter because of this weirdo. Do you remember what he said at the Yi clan? What does it have to do with him? How many times Zhao Mingyu's Acupoints have expanded? It really has nothing to do with him. He can't even touch his heel. I only admire Lin Chen when it comes to bragging. That's right, brother. That's right. After a moment of silence, all the forces in the Flying Dragon City burst into an uproar. What the CK is this? My 20,000 gold Saint Origin coins are gone. So much so that he lost his pants. That's all you've got to brag about? Back then, I could expand my Acupoints by 15 times. What the CK is this? What a waste of time. It's too fake. That's all you've got? The sages were all cursing and scolding. Their endless curses and laughter were mixed with their saint energy, shaking the space as if they were going to shatter the sky and drown the heaven-reaching tower. What a joke! Lin Chun was completely different from the domineering and rumored person he was when he broke into the Yi clan alone. Zue Lao, who was watching from afar, was also dumbfounded. It shouldn't be. How could this be? Lin Chen's temperament and state of mind were unmatched among all the evildoers he had seen. Did I misjudge him? Even if he's not as good as Zhao Mingyu, he shouldn't be this bad. Looking at the legends that Lin Chun left behind in the sacred boundary, he used the Black Horse Club to deceive everyone. When he became a saint with his flesh, spirit, and cultivation. He became a saint with the most difficult combination of 3 and broke 9 acupoints in a row. After that, he killed the geniuses on the Demon Genius list and fought against the law enforcement team of the Demon Genius list. Could it be that all these were just false reputations? Outside the Cloud Cauldron Tower, a white-haired old man with 2 white-haired girls narrowed his eyes. His fingers, which were hidden in his sleeves, moved rapidly as he calculated Lin Chen's whereabouts. That's not right. Although I can't see through his karma and destiny, this kid's foundation shouldn't be limited to this. This time, even the white-haired old man was in a dilemma. In the void, the 3 higher-ups communicated with their minds. Looks like we've been waiting for nothing. This Lin Chun should be an unconventional person. That's right. Look at his vitality. He's so young, but his flesh's strength is over 1 trillion dragon power points. He should be a body-refining genius, but he's not good at cultivating saint acupoints. Potential is potential. Results are results. In history, countless geniuses and evildoers of the same generation have died. Looks like this Lin Chun can only be considered a body-refining genius. Cultivating saint power is the true path of the human race. Below the heaven-reaching tower, everyone from the sword domain and the elixir domain broke out in cold sweat when they saw this result. Old Shun's face darkened even more. Normally, when a saint expanded his acupoints, the first expansion would be the highest. Even if the evildoers on the evildoers list could break the rules and surpass the first expansion, the difference wouldn't be that great. This meant that no matter how Lin Chun expanded his acupoints in the future, it would be around 13 times. At most, it would be 20 times. This meant that the total expansion would not even be 150 times. It was clear that the bet between Lin Chun and the Yi clan was a loser. Old Shin frowned and said, "What's going on?" According to Lin Chen's foundation and character, even if his talent isn't the best, he shouldn't be able to achieve this result. The Sword Emanation's elder said simply, "The situation is not right. There must be an accident." Song Ilian said with certainty, "He's definitely not that simple. There must be an accident." Uxiner, who was at the side, frowned. She was even more disappointed. "Young Master Lin Chun, could it be that you're like those thieves in the secular world who only know how to boast? You've really disappointed me. Only the Little Demon Empress, Class 66, Lung Yuechi, Ning Qing Xian, Yun Man Xing, Yin Xian Yun, and the other beauties noticed Lin Chen's abnormality almost instantly. Lin Chen looks like he's in pain. Class monitor doesn't look right. He doesn't look like he's usually at ease." At this time, Lin Chun, who was sitting cross-legged in the air, had a twisted expression on his face. He looked like he was in pain. It's okay. He can definitely handle it. At this time, Lin Ping, who was chewing on a fruit, said with a clear voice. She was probably the calmest person in the entire place. Chapter 1405. The match was set. Lin Chun had lost. This was an ironclad fact. The 31st Saint Point had only expanded by 13 times. No matter how hard he tried, he would not be able to create a miracle. Outside Sky Split Tower, many experts were so angry that they left. There were also many people who stayed to watch the show. They found it even more interesting and looked forward to seeing Lin Chen's expression when he walked out. Many of the grade 8 sects felt like they had been toyed with. The Yi family and the Zhao family felt even more humiliated than before. Was this kind of person worthy of making a bet with them? It seems that we overestimated him. Patriarch Zhao smiled casually. This is good too. Our relationship with the Yi family will not have any accidents. After all this, he is just a clown. Zhao Mingyu sat back down, calm and unruly. The beautiful servant next to him massaged his shoulders and legs. Yi Lixuan narrowed her eyes. Things may not be that simple. Even if there is a 1 in a million chance, don't underestimate your opponent. Watch first. Obviously, she also noticed the change in Lin Chen's expression. It was better to be safe than sorry. Below Sky Split Tower. Should we rush in and save the class monitor? By Jiuanhao, are you crazy? This is Sky Split Tower. What are you rushing in for? Let's watch first. Don't be anxious. The class monitor has turned danger into safety many times. We have to trust him this time. Blindly helping will backfire. Everyone in class 66 was anxious. Elder Wanhua of Thousand Flame Palace stroked his beard and smiled. Let's watch until the end. No matter success or failure, I believe in Lin Chen. There was no one in the world who could save Qi Fian. Even a Saint King could not do it. Elder Wanhua was willing to watch until the end. He was even calmer than the Pill Region and Realm Tower. Are you a man who only has sex? I don't believe that. On Fairy Crimson's beautiful face, there was a faint smile of peerless beauty as she waited quietly. Jian Qingsheng and the little demon empress looked at each other and laughed. It was as if Lin Chen had some kind of magical power. After a brief moment of shock, everyone from the Realm Tower, Pill Domain, and Mystic Domain calmly waited for the final result. That's right. Every time they recalled the first time they met Lin Chen. Didn't it start with his various inconceivable deeds? When was there ever a time when he did things that were expected by others? When he was still a war emperor, he had massacred the prodigy ranking. He even dared to suppress the might of a saint king. He had never bowed his head before the will of a god. Even when it came to refining pills, he had never taken the ordinary path. Such a person only knew how to expand his acupoints by 13 times. Impossible. It's impossible at all. Inside the space secret realm, Lin Chen sat cross-legged. His slightly pale face was covered in cold sweat, and the system screen continued to pop up. The situation had exceeded his expectations. It was so serious that his scalp went numb. The reason why Lin Chen's 31st Saint Acupoint had only expanded 13 times when he entered the Acupoint Augmentation realm was not because Lin Chen's accumulation was not enough. On the contrary, the accumulation was too abnormal. His accumulation of Saint energy was too strong. It was so fast that it was not an exaggeration to say that it was the fastest in history. How strong was Lin Chen's accumulation of Saint energy? Summary. At this moment, Lin Chen could only use the slowing rune on himself in order to temporarily stop it. Slowing rune is continuously activating, consuming 300 points of top-grade rune energy, consuming 500 points of top-grade rune energy, consuming 200 points. Lin Chen's top-grade rune energy attribute was rapidly being consumed to suppress the massive amount of Saint energy that was about to go berserk. Although Lin Chen now had more than 6 million top-grade rune energy attributes, at this rate, his rune energy would be completely depleted in less than 10 days. The Saint energy is starting to surge out. It's impossible to seal it. There's only one way left. The Saint energy was about to burst through Lin Chen's spiritual control and Saint body. His state of mind began to calm down as he searched for the only way to deal with it. He had to control and guide the direction of the Saint energy. If he couldn't control the massive amount of Saint energy, his cultivation would instantly break through the 4th Heaven Saint realm, 5th Heaven Saint realm, and even 6th Heaven Saint realm, life and death realm. It was extremely likely that he would become the fastest existence to reach life and death realm in the sacred boundary. But was it a good thing? Absolutely not. Once the speed of breaking Saint energy was too fast, it would lose its quality. Under the high-speed chain of breaking Saint energy, it would be impossible for the Saint energy to reach a high level. If this happened, it would definitely cause permanent damage to Lin Chen. That was because the aperture expansion realm and the transformation realm were the two most important foundational realms in the Saint realm. I have to concentrate wholeheartedly. The 31st Saint energy point has already been opened. I have to pour all my accumulated Saint energy into the next 9 Saint energy points. I have to control it within the range of my control and use all my Saint energy on the aperture expansion realm. Lin Chun was determined to break through to the aperture expansion realm. He didn't even plan to break through to the transformation realm. The more solid his foundation was, the more he would soar to the heavens when he reached life and death realm and star realm in the future. Just like that, 3 whole days passed. In these 3 days, Lin Chun was like an old monk in meditation. He didn't move at all. The Saint energy seemed to have disappeared from his body. The people inside and outside the heaven-reaching tower had changed several times. Some of the monstrous geniuses had already succeeded in breaking through 50 or 60 Saint energy points. Their success had attracted the attention of many experts. There were also many people who were disdainful of the young man on the light screen at the top of the tower. There are less than 2 days until the Stairway Heaven competition. It seems like it's impossible to reverse the situation. Zui Laowang sighed. He had misjudged Huang Xiaolong. After he finished speaking, his figure flashed and flew towards the heaven-reaching tower. He planned to pull Lin Chun out of the spiritual secret realm. No matter how noisy the outside world was, Lin Chun's body and mind felt as if they had sunk into a deep ocean. His consciousness was only focused on the majestic Saint energy that was gushing out. In these 3 days, Lin Chun's spiritual strength had reached its peak. However, at the same time, more than half of the rune's energy had been depleted. He had already reached the limit of his current control. System, start to reduce the activation of the slow rune. The slow rune is being activated less frequently. The host Saint energy is being removed. Within Lin Chun's Saint acupoint, terrifying Saint energy fluctuations began to surge. It's time for it to blossom and bear fruit. Scenes of the past flashed past Lin Chun's mind. Then, all the experiences and training turned into the foundation for him to break through to the next level. Finally, like rivers converging into the sea, he soared into the sky. With his spiritual strength focused, Lin Chun aimed at the 32nd Saint energy point. Second acupoint expansion. Open for me. Lin Chun opened his eyes. His domineering aura leaked out. The 31st Saint energy point shone brightly. A ray of divine light penetrated the 32nd Saint energy point. It engulfed the world and swept away the stars and the moon. The Saint energy in his body surged like a raging dragon and rushed towards the 32nd Saint energy point. Outside the heaven-reaching tower, just as Zui Laowang was about to enter the Tongtian Tower, whoosh, rumble. A loud explosion sounded as if heaven and earth had been turned upside down. Zui Laowang was caught off guard and took 2 steps back. What happened? No, it's coming from the direction of the Tongtian Tower. How is that possible? The Tongtian Tower has never trembled before. What's going on? When the various forces looked at the Tongtian Tower again, they saw a screen that was filled with Saint energy points. It was Lin Chun's space mystic realm. Rumble. Bang. 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 The horrifying sound of exploding acupoints was like the shattering of mountains and rivers. A series of explosions sounded like heaven and earth wailing. 50 times, 100 times, 150 times. It was still rising unstoppably. All the experts who sensed the changes were dumbfounded. Chapter 1406. The sudden change and momentum shocked everyone. Wait a minute. It's Lin Chun's position. Oh my God, how many times did he explode just now? 200 times, it's 200 times. No, it's more than that. He is still expanding his acupoints. The 32nd Saint acupoint has not been completely expanded yet. 300 times. The Yi family, the Zhao family, and all the powerful figures of the 8th rank sects were dumbfounded when they came to their senses. What's wrong with this kid? He's been accumulating for 3 days, and now he's going all out? Bang, bang, bang. The earth-shattering explosion came through the spatial light screen, and for the first time, the Tower of Babel began to shake violently. Lin Chen's 30-second Saint Point exploded 500 times in a row. 500 times. More and more powerful figures came to their senses. He's only starting now? The class monitor is finally going to explode. I knew he wouldn't let it end like this. Everyone in Class 66 was wild with joy, and they waved their arms and cheered for Lin Chen. The eruption of Saint energy spread across the heavens and earth, like a cosmic storm that swept across the stars. All of a sudden, the eruption of this Saint energy was gradually increasing in intensity and intensity. Bang, bang, bang. The space in Lin Chen's 30-second holy point exploded one after another, and the holy force it contained was more than 100 times larger than the previous holy points. After the 30-second holy point exploded 700 times, the hexagonal starlight appeared in Lin Chen's body. The mighty figures of the various rank, 8 sects sucked in a breath of cold air. Many powerful figures even went crazy, and their faces were full of shock and confusion. What's going on? What's going on? A single expansion of the holy point had reached 700 times. He's broken the record. Damn it, what's going on? I haven't recovered from the shock, and this kid has expanded his holy points by 700 times. In the record of the super genius list, no one has ever expanded their holy points by more than 350 times. This kid has exceeded the record by 2 times. The entire Flying Dragon City was in a mess, and the forces that wanted to disperse once again focused their attention on the Tower of Babel. In the Spirit Moon Pavilion, Patriarch Zhao stood up. Zhao Mingyu used his Saint energy and crushed the wine glass in his hand. The wine spilled all over his body. His arrogant face was filled with disbelief. 700 times? How is that possible? Although Yi Lishue's cold and beautiful face looked calm, she was silently biting her red lips. Don't tell me you can still make a comeback at this juncture, below the Tower of Babel. Elder Wanhua's heart skipped a beat. Oh no, could that be the case? The elders of the Elixir region and Elder Shun of the Boundary Tower reacted at the same time. Their expressions were ugly. Song Yilian reacted quickly and said in a deep voice, Sir Myriad Fire, are you saying that Lin Chen might be in the same situation as the monster Chu Jingyan from 100,000 years ago? Did he expand the acupoint too fiercely and overshoot his head? 100,000 years ago, there was a monstrous genius who tried to break through to the enlargement point realm. At the cost of condensing his life force, he broke through the 31st Saint Acupoint, expanding his acupoints by 99 times. However, at that time, that monstrous genius hair turned white in an instant. His life force was exhausted, and he expanded his acupoints several times each time. In the end, the total expansion of his acupoints was less than 100 times. His ending was extremely tragic. That's right. Elder Wanhua nodded and stared in Lin Chen's direction without blinking. Everyone was worried that the tragedy would repeat itself. They were afraid that Lin Chen would use too much strength and concentrate all his energy on expanding his acupoints a second time. Then, he would become the second Chu Jingyan. The other mighty figures were the same. They more or less thought of the Chu Jingyan from back then. At this time, all their eyes were focused on Lin Chen. However, this was just a gust of wind before the storm. In the space mystic realm, Lin Chen's lips curled up slightly. He raised his hand and snapped his fingers. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All 6 illusionary doppelgangers appeared. Next is the real beginning. System, continue to reduce the sluggish rune. Lin Chen's fighting spirit rose. All his doppelgangers and main body controlled the terrifying Saint energy together and rushed into the 33rd Saint Acupoint. Chi! Boom! Bang! 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 The sound of an acupoint exploding seemed to tear the sky apart. The sun and moon lost their light, and sand and stones flew everywhere. It was as if a destructive force had exploded in the entire space mystic realm, shaking heaven and earth. 100 times, 300 times, 600 times. When the nine-colored saint light passed through the light screen, all the powerful figures in the flying dragon city were shocked. Lin Chun was not the second Chu Jingyan. His accumulation was so vigorous that it was more than enough compared to before. Lin Chen's third acupoint expansion was unstoppable. Like a gust of wind and thunder, he broke through the 33rd Saint Acupoint and surpassed 1,000 times. The heaven-reaching tower trembled violently, and ripples continued to appear in the space. 1,100 times. A mighty figure from an 8th grade force was shocked. He only used 3 acupoints expansion, and it's almost the same as Zhao Mingyu's expansion. 1,100 times, 700 times, 13 times. With just 3 acupoints expansion, Lin Chen's total acupoint expansion had reached 1,813 times. Zhao Mingyu's was 1,850 times. The difference between the two is only 37 times. It's not over yet. This kid's aura is still strong. The eyes of several 8th grade mighty figures lit up. Good fellow. He had been accumulating power for the past 3 days. Everyone in the Zhao family was furious. They clenched their fists and stared at Lin Chun. Inside the space mystic realm. It's not over yet. The show has just begun. Lin Chun roared and suddenly stood up. He activated the Tai Heaven Concealing Art. The strong, sane energy was like billions of heavenly dragons. It was invincible and broke through the 34th Saint Acupoint in one go. Bang! An explosion directly blasted through the space mystic realm he was in. The 9-colored saint light danced like countless divine lights, shuttling through the void and shattering the sky. Bang! 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 Boom! 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 The endless sounds of explosions shook the sun and the moon, alarming all the mighty figures. The 34th Saint Acupoint opened, and the explosions continued for 1,000 times, exploding 1,400 times. Below the heaven-reaching tower, the people of the Pill region and Realm Tower cheered. Class 66 was even more excited. The little demon Empress smiled sweetly, her charm unparalleled. As expected, no one in this world can see through you. At this moment, all the mighty figures in Flying Dragon City stood up. The monstrous geniuses who mocked Lin Chen earlier opened their mouths slightly, as if they had seen a ghost. The expressions of all the mighty figures were surprisingly the same. Disbelief was written all over their faces. 1,400 times. The 4th time, 1,400 times. He surpassed Zhao Mingyu. Zhao Mingyu is nothing now. His total acupoint expansion is 3,213 times. It's too scary. Since ancient times, how many people on the monstrous genius list have exceeded 3,000 times? At this moment, all the mighty figures appeared one after another, turning into streams of light and flashing over. The sky was filled with Sacred Heart realm mighty figures. There were dozens of them. All of them were mighty figures from 8th grade sects. They all came personally to observe Lin Chen's acupoint expansion. They were no longer in the form of thoughts. It's not over yet. He still looks calm and composed. This kid still has energy left. He still has 6 more acupoint expansions. It's too scary. How many tricks does he have up his sleeves? All the forces were in an uproar as if they had gone crazy. Lin Chen's ultimate counterattack. The history of the monstrous genius list's acupoint expansion would be rewritten from this moment on. This acupoint expansion could be said to be full of ups and downs, unprecedented. No one would have thought that Lin Chen's starting point would only be 13 times. But what was even more unexpected was that when he truly exerted his strength, it was so heaven-defying that it refreshed the monstrous genius list record. There were 6 more acupoint expansions left. Where would history lead to? Everyone widened their eyes and anxiously waited for the final result. Chapter 1407. Below the Tower of Babel, while Class 66 and the others were cheering, Uxer covered her mouth with her hands and stared at the screen in the air. No wonder his people believed in him until the end. Lin Shun, who is this person? Zue Laowang clenched his fists in the air. His judgment was right. 1,400 times, where can this little guy go? Everyone was looking forward to it. The rank, 8 mighty ones near Flying Dragon City, reacted faster than the other, and they all gathered toward Flying Dragon City. Inside the space secret realm, Lin Chen's 34 Saint Acupoints were like the brightest stars in the universe. Just the Saint power that they emitted was like a hurricane. Starting from the 32 Saint Acupoints, each Saint Acupoint seemed to have opened up a new universe. The new Saint Acupoints could contain even more Saint power, causing Lin Chen's Saint power cultivation to undergo a complete qualitative change. What was more terrifying was that the Tai space in Lin Chen's Dantian was spinning with the same hexagonal star. The Tai space's Saint Acupoint was even stronger than Lin Chen's Saint Acupoint. So this is the Acupoint expansion stage. How powerful is this Saint power? Lin Chen was in a good mood. Then, he activated the system again and reduced the use of the slow rune again. Rumble. The Saint power that was sweeping across the entire realm suddenly exploded. With the 6 clones holding down the fort, the endless and violent Saint power was like a tamed dragon, allowing Lin Shun to aim at the 35th Saint Acupoint and break it in one go. Boom! Bang! 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 The momentum of breaking the Acupoint was like a landslide and a tsunami, causing the sky to fall and the earth to crack. Lin Chen's 35th Saint Acupoint exploded, and the space in the Saint Acupoint was like a new chaos, with new Saint power pouring in. It was as if a new universe had been created, and it could contain mountains, rivers, sun, and moon. The realm shook violently, and beams of Saint light exploded from Lin Chen's body. 9 colors and 1,000 sounds rang out, and every saint's heartstrings throbbed. It was as if they were witnessing the birth of a new member of the monster rankings. 1,000 times, 1,500 times. Following the final explosion of his Saint Acupoint, Lin Chen's 5th Acupoint expansion came to a successful conclusion. In the entire Flying Dragon City, there was only silence and shock everywhere. 2,000 times. Lin Chen's 5th Acupoint expansion had reached an astonishing 2,000 times. Inside the Spirit Moon Pavilion, a jade cup shattered with a crash. For the first time, the experienced Zhao family head had a dull look in his eyes as he stared at the Tong Tian Tower in a daze. He no longer had the domineering aura of the past. He had been fortunate enough to see monstrous geniuses who were more powerful than his son, but he had never seen such an outrageous youth. At this moment, Lin Chen's total Acupoint expansion had already reached 5,213 times. Zhao Mingyu stood in front of the window sill, his eyes bloodshot. He bit his lips until they bled. He, who had always boasted of being a peerless genius, was now somewhat hysterical and in disbelief. This time, Lin Shun had only expanded 1 Saint point, and it was already several times more than Zhao Mingyu's total expansion of 10 Saint points. What was even more frightening was that this kid still had 5 more chances to expand his Acupoints. What was a peerless genius? In front of Lin Shun, they were nothing. How can there be such an outrageous amount of Acupoint expansion in this world? Zhao Mingyu's eyes widened as his Saint power spread out and shattered the void. In the space mystic realm, Lin Chen's lips curled up crazily. He was already familiar with and could withstand the Acupoint expansion Saint power. Next, he was going to play a bigger game. System, remove all the restrictions of the slow runes for me. Rumble, clang, clang, clang. Lin Chen's Saint points emitted a series of clanging sounds. The Saint power that had broken through the 9 heavens and 10 lands was finally released. From the moment Lin Shun entered the holy prison to the moment he broke through it, all the accumulation, all the training, all the accumulation, all the restrictions were released, and all the restrictions were released in an instant. His 30 saint points burst forth with even more ferocious aura. Lin Chen did not need to control it all. The saint power crashed into the 36th saint point like billions of dragons. Chi! Bang! The saint point opened, and a loud explosion sounded. The saint points exploded one after another, forming a new chaos, which turned into endless saint power to fill them up. Lin Chen's main body and 6 clones activated their cultivation techniques at the same time, opening the 36th saint point in one go. Bang! 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 Lin Chen's 6th acupoint expansion broke through 2,700 times. But it was not over yet. The saint power that had lost the restriction of the slow runes was like a wild horse that had broken free of its reins, like a dragon that had broken free of its cage, like a great sage that had taken off the golden hoop and soared into the sky. It rushed to the 37th saint point. The explosion of saint power that changed the color of heaven and earth blasted holes in a mystic realm. Zue Lao Wing seemed to have sensed the earth-shattering saint power gushing out, and he turned pale with fright. Old Chun, Old Feng, quick, cut off all the monsters that are expanding their acupoints. Pull everyone out. The 2 elders in the Tower of Babel reacted quickly. In less than a tenth of a breath, they waved their sleeves and cut off the monsters that were expanding their acupoints in other mystic realms in the Tower of Babel. Those monsters that were expanding their acupoints were dumbfounded when they were cut off. What's going on? I was just about to explode. Don't mess with me. I'm Black Xia. Zue Lao Wang grabbed the air with both hands and pulled it across the space, teleporting all the monsters out of the Tower of Babel. Just as he pulled them out, rumble, boom, the explosion shook the Tower of Babel and caused it to tilt. The geniuses on the monster ranking screamed and went crazy. All the mighty figures sucked in a cold breath. The Tower of Babel, one of the holy lands of heavenly sanctuary for expanding acupoints, had never fallen since the antiquity age. But now, it was tilted because of a young man's acupoint expansion. Where did this monster come from? Bang! 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 The acupoint expansion was unstoppable. Lin Chen's 37th acupoint was opened. Holy light shone through the space screen and spread across thousands of miles. It exploded 3,500 times in a row. The 7th acupoint expansion, 3,500 times. In the mystic realm, the 6 clones stood around Lin Chen like stars surrounding the moon, activating their cultivation techniques together. Lin Chen roared into the sky. The 8th acupoint expansion opened. Holy power danced like a true dragon, as if thousands of realms were syncing together, as if heaven, earth, sun, and moon were evaporating together and rushed into the 38th acupoint in an instant. Bang! Bang! The space mystic realm was blown apart. Lin Chen opened 3 acupoints in a row. This time, there were 4,500 explosions. His 38 acupoints glowed with the holy light of the sun, moon, and stars, giving all the powerful figures the illusion that he was in the star state. Outside the Tower of Babel, all the gifted geniuses on the gifted genius list stared at the space screen in a daze. That figure was like a god descending from the heavens. That was an insurmountable mountain for them in this lifetime. The geniuses of the Divine Flame Palace were even more excited. The entire Zhao family pooped their pants. The white-haired old man revealed a rare trace of an excited smile. The people of the Elixir Domain and the Sword Domain were all cheering Lin Chen's name. The 8th acupoint expansion, 4,500 times. The total acupoint expansion, 15,913 times. Whether it was those who came out of seclusion because of the acupoint expansion, the powerful figures of the 8th rank sex, or the old seniors who were hosting the Stairway Heaven competition, at this moment, all the powerful figures went completely crazy. Benevolence, righteousness, wisdom, state of mind, cultivation, and knowledge were all gone to hell. No one was able to remain calm. All of them roared like they had gone mad. The peerless genius has arrived. there were still 2 more acupoint expansions left. After today, everyone in the 100,000 dragon cities of the heavenly sanctuary would know who he was. Chapter 1408. The Saint Genius has arrived on the Demon Genius list. Since ancient times, in the sacred boundary, there hasn't been a single genius who could be compared to this kid. This kid must be a Saint Genius. The Saint Genius list must have Lin Chen's name. Once he expands his acupoints, everyone in the world will know him. The 3 higher-ups in the void were shocked. This kid's potential had completely surpassed the Demon Genius list. On the top floor of the Spirit Moon Pavilion, Madame Yi Lishue, had a cold and beautiful face. Under her calm demeanor, her red lips trembled slightly, revealing an unconcealable shock. Peerless talent? Impossible. It's definitely not that simple. Acupoint expansion was calculated based on a saint's lifetime accumulation. Unless it was a saint infant, it wasn't something that could be done overnight with talent. Where did this kid come from? What did he go through? He must have done something earth-shattering and terrifying. He must have narrowly escaped death and fought to survive. He must have accumulated his spirit and honed his soul to an unprecedented level. Yi Lishue's shock was filled with unprecedented doubts. She couldn't think of anything. She didn't have any idea at all. Even someone as strong as her, who was in charge of an 8th-rank family, couldn't think of anything even after racking her brains and deducing. What kind of heaven-defying things did he have to go through to be able to accumulate so much that he could expand his acupoints by 10,000 times? Ambush a life and death realm expert at a special time? Or kill a star receiving realm expert? Go deep into a special dangerous plane? Or encircle the demon race? These ideas were all rejected, because these were simply impossible to accumulate in such a domineering manner. Even with her experience, she couldn't think of a single possibility, because this wasn't something a human could do. Since ancient times, only the saint infant of the sacred boundary could expand his acupoints by 10,000 times. Under the heaven-reaching tower, Qi Yu and the others were ecstatic. Only Elder Wanhua, the 3 elders of the Sword region, and Jiansheng looked thoughtful and even shocked. That's right. Why was Lin Chen's accumulation so heaven-defying? There was only one possibility. Holy prison. He really went to holy prison, and it was very likely that he had achieved his goal. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to have such a heaven-defying accumulation. This brat really went to the holy prison. Sword God above, what kind of monster is this young man? This grandson-in-law is too heaven-defying. Is Qin Cheng worthy of him? Without a doubt. Once Lin Chun came out of seclusion, as long as he didn't die in the future, he would definitely be a leading figure in any domain he went to. Inside the space secret realm, Lin Chun was full of energy. He was bathed in endless holy light, and he looked like a god that had descended to the mortal world. Lin Chun flipped his palm, and the Bodhi, Saint Dan, appeared. He swallowed it in an instant, and his 6 incarnations circulated their heart sutras to refine it. The surging and majestic energy flowed into all of his saint acupoints, further increasing the foundation of his acupoints. There were only 2 more acupoint expansions left. Lin Chen's accumulation was about to be used up. He wanted to use all his trump cards at the very end. With Lin Chen's current cultivation and foundation, coupled with the terrifying Tai heaven concealing technique and the support of his 6 incarnations, refining a Bodhi Saint Dan was a walk in the park. The 9th acupoint opened up all of them. Chi! Bang! 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 The endless aura of exploding acupoints filled the air and spread in all directions. The space secret realm was blasted into pieces. All of the experts were horrified. The aura of this acupoint expansion lasted longer than any of the previous times. There were 5,600 consecutive explosions. The 9th acupoint expansion was 5,600 times. The total multiplier was more than 20,000 times. The little girl in white beside the white-haired old man waved her little fist and jumped up and down happily. Wow, this brother is so powerful. He has surpassed sister. The white-haired old man's eyes flashed as if he could see through the void. It's not over yet. He is still preparing for the last time. Inside the space secret realm, Lin Shun calmed down and condensed all of the remaining Bodhi Saint Dan's medicinal energy. Right now, he could perfectly control the remaining essence of the Bodhi Saint Dan. This time, he was about to use up all of his energy. If he forcefully opened his acupoints, the result might not be as good as the 9th acupoint expansion. Scenes of the past flashed through his mind. The battle with numerous experts when he charged into the holy prison, the massacre of saints when he overturned the 16th level of the holy prison, and the life and death battle with the Devil Emperor's clone. These experiences had tempered his spirit and fighting spirit time and time again. In terms of accumulation, there might not be another third heaven true saint in the sacred boundary who has the same accumulation as me. Lin Chen's gaze was sharp and domineering as he looked down on the world. In terms of accumulation, he had charged into one of the most terrifying forbidden grounds in the sacred boundary, the holy prison. With his talent as a heaven-defying cultivator, he had slaughtered the Helm Master, annihilated a group of devils, and killed a large number of high-level saints and peak experts in an instant. Since ancient times, which genius in the sacred boundary had accumulated as much as him? In terms of tempering, a third heaven true saint could kill life and death realm experts, star-receiving realm experts, and even Sacred Heart realm experts, as if they were grass. Even the Devil Emperor's clone and the top 10 Saint Devil Kings had died in his hands. In this world, which monstrous genius could have such a tempering experience? Perhaps the answer was no one. It could be said that Lin Chen's state of mind and fighting spirit had been tempered to an unprecedented level. This time, his acupoint expansion was flawless, and he had accumulated enough energy to unleash it. Extreme God possession. Lin Chun let out a long howl. His doppelganger and main body exerted their strength together. When he activated his mental cultivation technique, his talent points decreased drastically. This supreme God possession talent that he had been accumulating for a long time appeared. A majestic figure of a god appeared behind him. He activated the effect of cultivation technique mutation. Charge to the final peak. 4-piece God of War set come. Whoosh! For streaks of golden light descended from the heavens, and the God of War set's ultimate arm and leg armor were all equipped. Lin Chen's pure strength soared in a straight line. His dragon energy broke through 10 trillion, 50 trillion, 100 trillion in an unstoppable manner. All of his dragon energy turned into the energy for him to open the 40th acupoint. This was his final trump card. If he had used these 2 trump cards in the previous acupoint expansion, first, the set's attributes would not have been enough. Second, the remaining top-grade essence would not have been able to support him until the 10th acupoint expansion. Then he would have missed the most perfect moment in his life to open the acupoint expansion. If he tried again in the future, it would not be as flawless as this time. Lin Chen wanted to rely on this aura to rush to the peak of expanding acupoints in one go. Rumble. The invincible God of War's aura descended from the heavens and earth. 9 heavens and 10 lands were covered in the golden light of the God of War. What? What is that? Oh no. Quick, protect the vicinity of the heaven-reaching tower. All the mighty figures felt their scalps tingle. They could feel a force that could threaten them emerging from Lin Chen's body. More than a dozen mighty figures grabbed at the air and sealed the space at the same time. A streak of golden light shot out from Lin Chen's head. It gathered all of his saint power and charged toward the 40th acupoint. Rumble. Bang. The top of the heaven-reaching tower exploded. Chapter 1409. Chi. Bang. With a loud explosion, the shockwave destroyed everything in its path. The entire space secret realm was blown up and the entire flying dragon city shook violently. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A large amount of spiritual consciousness was awakened. This time, the acupoint expansion alarmed all the top experts in the 100,000 Dragon City. They opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the direction of Flying Dragon City in shock. Lin Chen's 10th acupoint expansion shook the entire Flying Dragon City. The last acupoint expansion swept across the sky like the might of a god of war. Golden divine light covered the entire Flying Dragon City, as if the god of war had personally arrived. The saint power exploded Lin Chen's 40th saint acupoint, creating a brand new saint acupoint space. In Flying Dragon City, many powerful figures worked together to stabilize the space so that the acupoint expansion wouldn't affect too much. At the top of the heaven-reaching tower, a series of exploding acupoints completely blew up the top of the heaven-reaching tower. The experts from various forces stared at the smoke at the top of the tower in a daze. Their hearts were in turmoil, and they were shocked like never before. If they hadn't felt it for themselves, they would never have believed it. Even though the truth was right in front of them, it was still like a dream. The previous acupoint explosion had sounded a total of 10,000 times. In other words, Lin Chen's 10th acupoint expansion had reached an unprecedented 10,000 times. All of Lin Chen's consumption and accumulation had finally been completely squandered at this moment, and it was a perfect ending. In a barren graveyard in a dragon realm in the heavenly sacred realm, 3 peak-level rank 8 holy dragons lay in a pool of blood, and their corpses were like mountains. The cold and indifferent white-clothed youth sheathed his sword. He had a dignified appearance, and his brows were piercingly cold. Only his pair of golden eyes did not seem to belong to the mortal world. It was as if there was a divine sword intent that pierced through the heavens, peerless and invincible. An aura that broke through the clouds shook the sky, and he suddenly looked in the direction of the heavenly sacred realm. This saint power fluctuation. The young man narrowed his eyes. Buzz. At this moment, the ancient mirror at his waist flashed. The young man opened the ancient mirror, and there were only 8 words on it. Quickly return to the divine realm to complete the expansion. She wants me to return to the divine realm? The young man was surprised. Just as he was about to move, the 5-colored sword behind him came out of its sheath. Boom! The sword was entwined with 5-colored clouds, flowing with colorful lights. The tip of the sword was pointed in the direction of the saint energy. It was the heavenly sanctuary, the direction of Lin Chen's acupoint expansion. 5 emperors. Are you telling me to go over? The golden-eyed youth had a surprised expression. The perception of the 5 emperor swords was usually very accurate. Right now, he had just fully recovered from his injuries. Should he follow the sword's senses and head in that direction to investigate? Forget it. Returning to the god realm is more important. If he could complete the blood swap, then no matter what was on the other side, nothing would be able to stop him. Lin Xingchen. The number 1 genius of the divine realm is still me. Lin Xingchen. With a wave of his hand, the sword returned to its scabbard, and a 5-colored cloud of light trembled. The light trembled chaotically, but the sword eventually calmed down. He leapt up and disappeared into the void of space. Heavenly sanctuary. After a long time, at the top of the Tong Tian Tower, a holy dragon lay there, looking extraordinarily handsome. On top of the dragon's head stood a tall figure. His silver robe fluttered in the wind, and the young man's hair was light. He was handsome and refined. His arms were crossed in front of his chest, and the corners of his mouth were curled up. He had the same frivolous smile as before, and he looked down on everyone. The 40 saint acupoints shone like stars, emitting the most terrifying acupoint expansion realm saint energy wave in the history of the sacred boundary. It was unparalleled. When the smoke dissipated, all the geniuses on the demon ranking looked up at the figure on the overturned tower. It was as if he had reached the highest peak in the history of the demon ranking. This is the acupoint expansion realm. Lin Chun glanced around, overlooking the flying dragon city. He looked at the human cultivators in the sky, gazing into the distance. Those spiritual wills that came out of seclusion showed no signs of fear. Everyone in the world is in my eyes. Those existences that he had to use his trump card to fight against, those powerful beings who once stood proudly in the sacred boundary, were nothing more than that. Staring at the nine-colored holy light flowing in his palm, Lin Chen's mind raced. He had the illusion that he could turn the world upside down with a flip of his hand and pick up the stars and the moon with a raise of his hand. If he used the God's Tears saber technique with his current cultivation, what would it be like? No, it's not an illusion. Now, in the entire Flying Dragon City, there are not many people who can threaten me. In a vast sacred boundary, there are many dangerous places and planes. I, Lin Chen, can come and go as I please. Lin Chen snapped his fingers, and the holy dragon flew down. He landed in the Tong Tian Tower and smiled at the dumbfounded Zue Lao. Well, Senior, I'm sorry. I seem to have used too much force in expanding the acupoints and lifted the cover of the Tong Tian Tower. Let's talk about the losses later. Used too much force in expanding the acupoints. Lifted the cover of the Tong Tian Tower? I'm afraid only you, Lin Chen, would be able to say such words. You're not just a little, you're simply too ferocious, Zue Lao sighed in amazement. After today, this kid's name would definitely shake the 36 regions of the sacred boundary. Lin Chen's previous achievements were not enough in the eyes of rank 8 sects and above. But now, in the entire sacred boundary, no power could ignore him. Lin Chen's 9 acupoints expansion was 21,513 times, and the last one had reached an earth-shattering 10,000 times, surpassing everything on the monstrous genius list. 10 acupoints expansion, 31,513 times. The monstrous genius list was nothing in front of him. Just the strength of the expansive cavern realm alone exceeded 15 trillion dragon power. This strength was enough to shake the 7th Heaven Sage realm, the Receival Star realm. Once this kid advanced to the Transformation realm, his battle strength would be unparalleled in the world. The expansive cavern realm was comparable to the Receival Star realm. This was probably the most terrifying expansive cavern realm sage in the history of the sacred boundary. Lin Chen, kid, do you want to come up for a chat? I'm from the Sage Monarch domain. This time, I'm here to ask you something. In the void, the 3 Almighties transmitted their voices to Lin Chen. Oh, 3 heaven opening realms? Lin Chen did not bat an eyelid. He smiled at everyone and said, "Everyone, wait a moment. I'll be back soon." Lin Chen's figure flashed, and holy power spread out slightly. It was as if he had jumped through space and soared into the sky. As soon as Lin Chen left, the entire Flying Dragon City was in an uproar. Too strong. 30,000 times expansion. It's 31,500 times. That's 2F asterisk king terrifying. Ordinary people on a monstrous genius list can't even compare to him. A god descending to the mortal world. This kid is really invincible. The various forces were engaged in heated discussions and quarreled intensely. Zhao Mingyu has already lost the first round. What about the second round? This year's Stairway Tournament is going to be interesting. No, you're too blindly optimistic. Potential is potential, battle strength is battle strength. Lin Chen can't win against Zhao Mingyu. He's only in the expansive cavern realm, while Zhao Mingyu is in the life and death realm. Once Lin Chen advances to the transformation realm, he'll be heaven-defying. But he's only in the expansive cavern realm now. The gap between the two is still there. Chapter 1410. Don't forget that Zhao Mingyu's dragon force exceeded 22 trillion when he was at the great circle of the transformation realm, let alone now that he's in the life and death realm. That's right. According to Lin Chen's acupoint expansion, his strength should be between 15 trillion and 16 trillion. There's no way he can win against Zhao Mingyu. In my opinion, the Yi family is the one suffering a huge loss. Wouldn't they suffer a huge loss in the future if they let someone like Lin Chen escape? Who cares about that? Hurry up and pay up. I just bet 20,000 Saint Origin coins on Lin Chen. Don't even think about running away. Haha, 1 to 100, this old man has made a killing. The Flying Dragon City was bustling with noise and excitement like never before. The geniuses on the Demon Genius list who had mocked Lin Chen earlier wanted to find a hole to hide in. They couldn't even compare to Huang Xiaolong's acupoint expansion. So how dare they mock him? Weren't they slapping their own faces? However, there were even more monstrous geniuses who had solemn expressions. Whether it was the veteran life and death realm geniuses or the new transformation realm geniuses, their expressions were exceptionally solemn. The Demon Genius list is about to change. Tens of thousands of zhang high in the sky. Lin Chen faced the three almighties. He was calm and composed as he strolled through the void. His footsteps were slow and steady, as if he was there to discuss some trivial matters. Even the three heaven-opening realm experts couldn't help but sigh at his boldness. What a peerless genius! With this kid's potential and temperament, they couldn't find a second person on the Demon Genius list who could compare to him. Everyone wants to ask about the empress of the demon race, right? The moment Lin Chen opened his mouth, he revealed what the three almighties wanted to ask. That's right, Lin Chen's relationship with Luo Yao was the only thing that concerned the upper echelons of the human race, unless the other party discovered that he had snuck into the holy prison. However, Lin Chen was confident that he could hide it completely. Moreover, no one would believe that he had really snuck into the holy prison. No matter how strong a fourth heaven true Saint Realm youth potential was, how could he have entered the holy prison? And it seems like you're a smart person. We want to know your relationship with her. Will she launch an attack on the human race? Or what information have you obtained from her? I hope you can tell us everything. This is for your own good, and for the good of the people around you. The charming young woman in the lead smiled. She was graceful, her skin was translucent, and her eyes were intelligent. She stared straight at Lin Chen, and her gentle gaze seemed to see through him. She knew that this person was amenable to coaxing, but not coercion. If she forced him, the result would only be the opposite of what she wanted. I'm afraid you've come in vain, because Lin Chen smiled casually. Because I have nothing to say. Boom! In the sky above Flying Dragon City, the wind and clouds suddenly changed. A white-haired old man unconsciously clenched his fist and said with a fake smile, "Young man, I'll give you one more chance to organize your words." Lin Chen took a step forward, and holy light swirled around him. He stood in front of that mighty figure and smiled casually. I said, no comment. What, if you're not convinced, you want to fight? Arrogant to the extreme. This young man was simply arrogant to the extreme. You don't think you can fight us after expanding your acupoints by 30,000 times, do you? Or do you think you can be unbridled with the support of that demon behind you? Another azure-robed man shook his head. Young man, don't underestimate our methods. Perhaps we can't touch you in a short time, but if we want to destroy the people around you, it won't take much effort to lift a finger. Lin Chen's expression was calm, and his voice was abnormally flat. Then you can try. If you kill me, I'll kill your clan. The three people's expressions immediately darkened, and the atmosphere was especially tense. They hadn't expected this brat to be so stubborn. In all fairness, Lin Chen didn't think he could compete with a heaven-opening realm cultivator after expanding his acupoints. This was foolish arrogance. However, if the other party wanted to probe him and make him betray Luo Yao, it was absolutely impossible. The only possibility was to fight to the death. Lin Chen's personality had always been like this. Even if he risked his life, he could make the other party pay a sufficient price. At worst, if he was forced into a corner, he could use a slowing talisman to release Lin Ping, and from the pain calamity. Even a heaven-opening realm cultivator would lose a layer of skin. Haha, why is there a need to talk in such a deadlock? Some things will come when they're meant to come. Karma comes and goes. Karma comes and goes. At this time, the old man's laughter broke the silence. The three supreme beings seemed to have thought of something, and their pupils shrank. They saw an old man come over on a cloud. Beside him were two pure and flawless white-robed little girls, smiling as he looked at the three. It's you?" The three supreme beings turned pale with fright. Even this old senior had come? Lin Shen was surprised. This old man was the old man he had helped at Cloud Cauldron Tower. "Go back and tell the forces behind you to stop investigating this brat. This old man can't find out his background, but could it be that you know more than this old man?" The white-haired old man laughed very naturally, but it made the three people's expressions even more interesting. They didn't even know this senior had attacked. What was this brat's background? Was he a spy arranged by the demon tribe? Or did he have another background? Since Senior said so. Well, since Senior has come out, then there's nothing for us to do here. We will definitely report it truthfully. I hope Senior doesn't have any selfish motives. The three of them cupped their fists deeply, their eyes revealing a little fear and awe. This senior was one of the treasures of the sacred boundary of the human race. He was unparalleled in the art of divination. The three supreme beings retreated. "Thank you for your help, Senior. This kid is extremely grateful." Lin Chun cupped his hands. He could feel that this old senior had no ill intentions. "No need to thank me. This old man did what he should do. You still have a painful disaster by your side. If these three people force you into a corner, this old man will be in a difficult position." The white-haired old man shook his head. Lin Chen couldn't deny it. His personality had never been one to accept anyone's threats. The white-haired old man continued. "Forget it. Don't worry about them. These guys have cultivated for so long, but they are more and more afraid of death. They don't have any eyesight at all. This old man can still see that you, Lin Shun, have a clear conscience. This old man naturally believes that you're not an evil person." The white-haired old man smiled kindly and didn't have any ill intentions. Lin Shun smiled. "Senior, you flatter me. This kid is just following his own life's creed. Life and death are indifferent. If you don't accept it, then do it. Life and death are indifferent. If you don't accept it, then do it. Most of the cultivators in the world are deceivers. To have someone like you, my little friend, there is still a chance for our human race to survive." Lin Shen was puzzled. A chance for survival? The old man's laughter had a deeper meaning. "In the future, you will understand." Chapter 14:11. Elder Wanhua saw that Lin Shun had returned and asked anxiously, "How was it? Did those people make things difficult for you?" His experience was extraordinary, and he could see that the people who were looking for Lin Shun were not ordinary people. There were strong and weak people in the heaven opening realm. If Zue Lao Wang was compared to those three powerhouses, the difference between them was like heaven and earth. "Haha, an old senior helped me out. Thank goodness." As Lin Chen's voice fell, he felt an angry, murderous aura aimed in his direction. He suddenly turned and looked in the direction of the Spirit Moon Pavilion. It was Zhao Mingyu. Lin Chen smiled, but did not say anything. The current him, even if he did not use a series of killing moves, he could still make Zhao Mingyu suffer. Inside the Spirit Moon Pavilion, Yi Lixue looked in the direction of the Purple Cloud King Valley. Under her calm expression, there was a hidden ripple. A total acupoint expansion of 31,513 times. This kind of result was monstrous and unparalleled. Even if he advanced to the condensation realm, it was the most common standard of the monstrous genius list, but the growth it brought was earth-shattering. The stronger the foundation, the higher the limit. Lin Shen, is it? As expected, he is an unfathomable man. At night, in the private room of the Cloud Cauldron Tower, everyone gathered. Regardless of the rumors and rumors outside, Lin Shun was determined to ignore them. In the private room, UXN bowed and wanted to apologize. "Prince Lin Shun, I cheers to Class 66. Everyone clinked glasses. Lin Shun ignored UXN and laughed with everyone from Class 66. "I told you that class monitor would definitely make them round. When class monitor participates in the Heaven Stairway tournament, he will say, "Sorry, I don't fight with people whose acupoint expansion is less than 30,000 times. You can surrender yourselves, ha 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 ha." The little demon empress smiled and patted the stunned Uexa. She smiled charmingly and said, "If he doesn't want to care about it, no one can care. Don't try to figure him out. In this world, no one can see through him." "Miss Qingwu, has he always been like this?" Uxian bit her teeth. The little demon empress smiled, but did not say anything. Her gaze quietly focused on Lin Shun. Tonight, everyone drank until they were drunk. Deep in the night, at the bottom of a lake, the surface of the lake was sparkling. Lin Shun and Lung Yueqi sat by the lake. The beautiful woman's beautiful face had a faint smile on it. "You've gotten yourself another beauty, haven't you?" Marshal Lin raised his hands in surrender and blushed with shame. "Sister Yuqi, I didn't. The little vixen and I are purely friends." Lung Yueqi raised her eyebrows and a smile appeared on her cold and beautiful face. "A pure relationship? You already called her a vixen, and she's so big. Don't you like her?" The corner of Lin Chen's mouth twitched. He didn't know what went wrong, but he blurted out, "Sister Yueqi's aren't small either." Lung Yueqi stared at him, and after a while, she giggled. She was like an immortal descending into the world of mortals, her beauty unmatched. She lay in Lin Chen's arms. Her cold and beautiful face was dyed with a faint red glow. "I've already broken through to the second heaven true saint realm, and my cultivation technique has reached perfection." Lin Chen's body trembled, and he hugged the beauty. The holy dragon appeared and released the extreme hell heavenly prison, blocking the surroundings. When the holy dragon's aura was concealed, he lowered his head and kissed the beauty in his arms. Host has activated dual cultivation union, beginning to nurture the cultivation of the target and the host. Lin Chen's first feeling was that it was so cold, but it was also abnormally refreshing. This scene of spring was reflected in the air, and no one was around to admire it. Only Bai Qianqian, who was in Lin Chen's fate plant pouch, was blushing. Her cheeks were red, and her ears were red. She covered her eyes with her delicate hands and couldn't help but sneak a peek through the gaps between her fingers. The next day, when Lung Yueqi and Lin Chen appeared again, the beauty's cultivation had actually broken through to the perfection of the second heaven true saint realm. The few elders of the Ice Heart Palace were dumbfounded. When the elders sensed her aura, they smiled knowingly. With Lin Chen's terrifying cultivation at the aperture opening realm, he could use his dual cultivation talent to feed more of his cultivation to his women. However, he wouldn't be affected. In fact, he could even obtain a high amount of water attribute energy from Lung Yueqi. Why wouldn't he do it? The next day, Fairy Scarlet found Lin Chen. "Do you still remember our agreement?" Fairy Scarlet blinked her eyes. Lin Chen was surprised. "You can't be serious, right?" Fairy Scarlet covered her mouth and chuckled. "Of course I'm serious." After saying that, she raised Lin Chen's palm. Pink holy light floated, and a peach blossom imprint appeared on Lin Chen's palm. "I, Fairy Scarlet, am willing to serve Prince Lin Chen as my master. I will only recognize one master for all eternity." When Fairy Scarlet opened her palm, a telepathic connection was formed between the two of them. Fairy Scarlet had once said that if Lin Chen could expand his acupoints more than 100 times, she would serve him as her master. Now, Lin Chen had long exceeded her requirements. She actually fulfilled her promise. The moment the two of them established a connection, Lin Chen was shocked. He finally knew Fairy Scarlet's true identity. Whoosh! Even Bai Qianqian ran out of Lin Chen's province plant pouch. Her snow-white tail swayed as she hugged Lin Chen's arm and swayed it. She said excitedly, "Master, this big sister is..." Lin Chen was shocked. He still hadn't recovered from his shock. "This big sister will follow me from now on." Bai Qianqian jumped up and down happily. "Wow, Master is so amazing." "Hello, big sister. My name is Bai Qianqian." Fairy Scarlet was slightly shocked. She didn't expect Lin Chen to have a legendary, auspicious beast by his side. She smiled and said, Hello, little auspicious beast. Lin Shen knew that Fairy Scarlet's identity was a Providence plant pouch, but he didn't expect her background to be so terrifying. A high-grade spirit plant? No, it was more than that. Lin Shun had never seen a real high-grade spirit plant. It was a peerless treasure that only a rank 7 sect could possess. But Fairy Scarlet gave him a feeling that it was not just a high-grade spirit plant. Fairy Scarlet smiled. By the way, I've already settled the compensation for you for damaging Skysplit Tower. You can participate in the competition with peace of mind. Lin Shun was stunned, but when he thought of her identity, he sighed. There were probably not many people in Flying Dragon City who were richer than Fairy Scarlet. Thank you. When everything is settled, I will repay you. Lin Shun grinned. Fairy Scarlet chuckled. I don't want anything in return. As long as you can become stronger, that will be the best reward for me. Lin Shun shook his head and laughed. When he left the building, the little demon empress had been waiting outside for a long time. Handsome Lin, you have a beauty in your arms. Don't you remember to participate in the competition? The little demon empress smiled charmingly and teased Lin Shun. Cough, of course not. There's still a tough battle waiting for me. Lin Shun smiled and stepped into the air with the little demon empress. The Heavenly Stairway competition officially began. Everyone was teleported into the space gate of Dragon City. The Heavenly Stairway competition was held in a special plane of Dragon City, the 3 clear planes. The 3 clear planes were divided into layers of space, and there was a special space for the participants to battle. Otherwise, when the geniuses and saints of the Heavenly Genius rankings fought, ordinary planes would not be able to contain their battle power. Only a special plane could accommodate them. Chapter 1412. On both sides of the 3 clear hall, the various forces were seated side by side. Those who were present were all at least 7th grade. Inside the hall, thousands of monstrous geniuses were gathered. The scene was unprecedentedly spectacular. The experts gathered here were all powerful existences in the outside world. Swoosh! A silver light descended as Lin Shun and the little demon empress entered the hall. This time, the little demon empress was also participating in the Sky Stairway tournament. Although it was only in the outer region, it was already a remarkable achievement considering her age. Everyone's gaze turned over, and the monstrous geniuses' gazes were even more spectacular. The Yi family and Zhao family were also present. That's Lin Shun, a guy who expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times. He doesn't look like one at all. Compared to the people of Manu, he looks like a weak child. I think he's just an undeserved reputation. Whether he can fight or not, we'll know in a while. A few of the top geniuses did not personally go to Tong Tian Tower to take a look. Many monstrous geniuses still did not put Lin Shun in their eyes. The reason was simple. The higher the foundation, the higher the starting point. If Lin Shen's acupoint expansion was really that heaven-defying, then the difficulty of his acupoint condensation would be countless times harder than other geniuses. Before one's potential could be converted into battle power, he was a piece of fat meat waiting to be slaughtered. After all, there were too many arrogant people on the monstrous geniuses list, so it was not surprising. Looks like a lot of people don't like me. Lin Shun touched the tip of his nose and casually walked into the inner region's Sky Stairway tournament hall. It had to be said that Lin Shun was a weirdo standing there, because in the inner region's Sky Stairway tournament, there were very few monstrous geniuses who were at the perfect transformation realm. Almost all the monstrous geniuses who could participate had reached the life and death realm. Only Lin Shun was still at the expanded acupoint realm. He was simply the only one in the history of the monstrous geniuses list Sky Stairway tournament. Compared to the life and death realm and the transformation realm, the expanded acupoint realm was just building the foundation. There was a huge disparity in battle power. Whether Lin Shun could be ranked as Zhao Mingyu was another matter. Zhao Mingyu stood proudly on the other side, his eyes filled with killing intent. Under normal circumstances, life and death battles between people on the monster genius list were forbidden and had to be reported to the upper echelons. However, accidents were allowed to happen in the stairway competition. If a contestant was unable to surrender in time, there were a few cases of monsters being killed in the past. It was not absolutely safe. In terms of combat strength, I still have the absolute advantage. Now, I actually hope that this brat can survive a few more rounds so that I can torture him to death. Zhao Mingyu was overflowing with hostility as he glanced at Lin Shun and the little demon empress from the corner of his eyes. All the 8th-rank families and sects focused their attention on Zhao Mingyu and Lin Shun with different expressions. Inside the main hall, Zue Lao Wang's figure appeared. Many geniuses were in awe of him. Hee, looks like everyone is here. He waved his hand, and a list appeared. Everyone's names were carved on it. There's no need to talk about the rules and rewards. They've all been listed out clearly outside. This time, it's still the same as before. It's a one-on-one competition. Strength speaks for itself. With that, Zue Lao Wang flicked his finger, and the list on the genius list began to scroll. Everyone stared at the list. Lin Shun, on the other hand, was looking at his own system casually. He was too lazy to pay attention to it. To him, it was the same no matter who he picked. This time, the acupoint expansion consumed 3 million of my top-notch rune attributes. Moreover, after entering the acupoint expansion realm, the rune attributes required to cast the illusory rune increased exponentially. I'll never have enough attribute points. When Lin Shun swept his gaze around, gasps of surprise could be heard from within the hall. Gazes filled with schadenfreude were directed at Lin Shun. Why are they all looking at me? Have they finally realized how handsome I am? When Lin Shun raised his head, his list was listed out. Genius list, God descending, Lin Shun versus Blood Azura, Jinglong. The strange thing was that neither of them had a ranking. The reason was simple. Both of them were ranked below 5,000. They did not meet the rules of the Inner Circle's stairway competition. They were promoted by an exception. It was precisely because they did not have a ranking that Jinglong was a strong opponent. Lin Shun has lost. There's no way. Although Jinglong is not as good as Zhao Mingyu, he is a battle maniac. He has been fighting demons for a long time. He expanded his acupoints by 990 times and condensed them by 131 times. Now that he has opened 54 sacred acupoints, he can unleash a power of 21 trillion dragon power. He is a ruthless person. It is said that his master was involved with a grade 9 force. His teachings were completely barbaric. Many forces were gloating and looking forward to Lin Shun being beaten up. Jinglong's strength was above average in the Inner Circle's stairway competition. Clang! A giant sword the size of a coffin was placed in front of Lin Shun. The man was 9 feet tall. He looked at Lin Shun with disdain and arrogance. Don't disappoint me, Lin Shun. Lin Shun smiled. I see that your body is strong. There is purple aura between your eyebrows, but there is a bloody disaster in your glabella. I guess it must be the 5 elements hammer. Jinglong looked at him with disdain. Don't kneel on the ground and beg for mercy later. The stairway competition is not about talking. Now, all the opponents who have drawn lots will enter the battle space. Zue Lao Wang waved his sleeves, and thousands of demons disappeared. In a desert plain, yellow sand raged. Lin Shun and Jinglong stood facing each other. Jinglong drew his sword. The giant sword was covered in blood patterns as if a blood dragon was dancing. The sword's murderous aura spread for thousands of miles. It was a grade 6 sacred sword. Lin Shun, show me your absolute art. Let me see if the new demon of your generation is a coward. Rumble, dragon blood rampage. With a roar, the odd crystal's brilliance circulated and the blood aura condensed. With Jinglong's blood sword as the center, the blood sword was surrounded by a terrifying dragon aura. He raised his hand and held the sword. With a sharp edge, he slashed down. The sword aura was extremely fast and slashed down on Lin Shun's head. Chi! Boom! 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 The desert split open, and the yellow sand burst out. The wind and clouds stirred. Good lad, this Jing Long actually used his best orange tier sword art. He didn't underestimate Lin Chun at all, as expected of a monster who fought with the demon race. He wants to kill as soon as he makes a move. He doesn't intend to play around at all. In the Three Pristines Hall, all the grade 8 sects were watching the battle intently. They wanted to see Lin Chen's trump card, the pure power that was enough to shake the peak of the Star State. In a normal battle, this kid had no chance of winning. Under everyone's watchful eyes, chi, clang, the sword aura that tore through the sky shot out in all directions. The blood sword was actually stopped in midair. What? All the experts were shocked. When they saw it clearly, they couldn't help but take a deep breath. Under the blood sword, Lin Chen's figure was as small as an ant. 9-colored sacred light circulated on his right arm. He raised his index finger slightly, and the tip of his finger touched the tip of the sword. The blood sword actually didn't move at all. What the F***CK is going on? Even the mighty figures of the grade 8 forces were stunned, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. One finger. This brat had used a single finger to block Jing Long's killing blow. Lin Chen's lips curled up, and his smile was evil and coquettish. That's it. Chapter 14:13. All the powerhouses from the grade 8 sects were filled with confusion and shock. The powerhouses from the grade 7 sects were even more dumbfounded. Impossible. Even if he expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times, he shouldn't be able to stop Jing Long. This kid's move was beyond everyone's expectations. It was true that expanding his acupoints by 30,000 times could defy the natural order and challenge a Na Xing expert, but that was only limited to ordinary Na Xing experts. A saint who could reach the Na Xing realm was at least on a monster ranking or a potential monster. However, this didn't include a prodigy like Jing Long, who stood at the top of the monster ranking and was close to being a super monster. When a life and death realm expert opened a saint acupoint, they would be contaminated with either life or death aura. Every time 2 saint acupoints were opened, life and death would be balanced, and all their saint power would be doubled. For example, a saint at the perfection transformation realm would have a saint power of 1 trillion dragon power after expanding and condensing acupoints. If this saint could break through to the life and death realm and open 2 saint acupoints, his saint power will be doubled to 2 trillion dragon power. If this saint was lucky enough to reach the perfection life and death realm, 10 saint acupoints would be 5 trillion dragon power. In other words, purely in terms of lethality, 51 to 60 saint acupoints in the life and death realm would allow a saint to obtain 5 times the total amount of saint power. However, the main point of the life and death realm was that the saint power would be contaminated with life and death aura. With the saint power of life and death aura, the saint's vitality would be greatly enhanced, and they would be able to regrow their limbs and fuse their flesh and blood. Although it wasn't as perverted as the Sacred Heart realm, it was very difficult to kill a life and death realm saint except for some special methods. According to the life and death realm, Jing Long's 54 saint acupoints would give him 21 trillion dragon power. Even without using techniques, he would be able to crush Lin Chun. But now, judging from the results, this was completely beyond common sense. This kid blocked it with 1 finger? In the Great Desert Plain, Jing Long was in disbelief. How is this possible? Even if he expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times, he would at most be the same as an ordinary Na Xing expert. My Blood Dragon Rampage has even killed Na Xing experts and high-level Holy Demon Kings. How could he block it with 1 finger? The veins on his arms were exposed as he activated all the power of the odd crystal. No matter how hard he tried, Lin Chun was like a mountain in front of him. He couldn't move at all. Brother Jing Long, the next time you want to brag, remember to find your target first. Don't find someone as handsome as me to brag to. I've only used 1/3 of my strength, and you can't take it anymore? Lin Chun smiled coldly. He activated his heart sutra and activated his saint power. When he held the tip of the sword with 1 finger, he swung his body sideways and launched a kick at the blood sword. TSK. Bang! The blood sword exploded, and the sky full of blood rays fell like broken stars. With a flash of demonic wings, Lin Shan appeared above Jinglong's head like a ghost and punched towards his head. Jinglong instantly felt his blood run cold. His intuition told him that if he did not block this punch, he would die. Clang! The large sword above his head took Lin Shan's punch head-on. Jinglong's blood and qi surged from the impact, and before he could activate his defensive skills, Lin Shan grabbed his large sword with one hand and smashed it into the ground of the desert. Rumble! Jinglong was smashed deep into the ground. Lin Shan's momentum was unstoppable. He was wild and domineering. Just by circulating his Heart Sutra and Saint Force, he launched a series of close combat attacks and beat Jinglong up. Moreover, Lin Shan's every punch and kick were all aimed at Jinglong's Saint Weapon and Sacred Sword, causing his Saint Weapons to explode. Attribute light balls fell all the way, and many of them were set essences. Jinglong was beaten into a daze. What was going on? The script was wrong. He had a hunch that this kid would have a backup plan and might be able to contend with him, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. Ka. Bang! With a loud explosion, Jinglong's 5th grade sacred armor was destroyed. His saint body cracked, and he spat out blood. Inside the Three Pristine's palace, many powerful figures stood up abruptly, looking as if they had seen a ghost. Even Zhe Lao Wang was dumbfounded, let alone the rank. 8 mighty figures. This kid didn't even use a single combat skill. He completely suppressed Jinglong with his pure Saint Force cultivation. Impossible. This damn acupoint expansion is 30,000 times. Taking everything into account, it doesn't even reach 16 trillion dragon power. How can he suppress Jinglong? Too many experts felt like they were going crazy and in a state of disarray. Suddenly, a rank, 8 mighty figure felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He thought of a possibility. Could it be that this kid expanded his acupoints by more than 30,000 times? As soon as this was said, all the mighty figures on the podium fell silent. They looked as if they had just found out that their wife was having an affair with someone else and that the child was not their own. This possibility seemed extremely ridiculous, but it was the only explanation that made sense. Because Lin Shan, this brat, could not be judged using common sense. If that's the case, this kid has expanded his acupoints by tens of thousands of times. My God, could it be that he was still holding back in front of all of us that day? The rank. 8 mighty figures' mouth twitched. Lin Shan, oh Lin Shan, how many trump cards does he have? The battle lasted for less than 15 minutes. Jinglong, who had been domineering at the beginning, had his saint weapons destroyed and his saint body broken. He could not fight anymore. Everyone could see that if Lin Shan wanted to kill Jinglong, he could have done so easily. However, he did not kill Jinglong in the end. Instead, he used his saint power to form 6 professional teams dressed in black and wearing white gloves to carry Jinglong out of the Grand Desert Realm. In the Three Pristine's palace, everyone looked at Jinglong, who was covered in blood, being carried out of the palace. He and Lin Shan were polar opposites. Lin Shan, Your Excellency Lin Shan, Jinglong, who was carried out of the palace, said unwillingly, How did I lose? He was unwilling to admit defeat. In the end, he did not even force Lin Shan to use a single combat technique. He had defeated Jinglong with just a little movement technique and pure strength brought by his saint power. Lin Shan lifted the fringe in front of his forehead and smiled evilly. He turned around and left with a smile. You lost because you treated me as your opponent. This goal is too difficult. Next time, find another one. Hearing this, Jinglong sighed and fainted. Everyone was speechless. The rank. 8 mighty figures were in awe. From now on, there would be suspense. Lin Shan versus Zhao Mingyu. They might really meet in the stairway to heaven. Moreover, Lin Shan might not lose. Coincidentally, Zhao Mingyu had also finished off his opponent quickly and returned to the Three Pristine's palace. Oh, he looked at Jinglong, who was lying on the stretcher, in surprise. When he turned to look at Lin Shun, his eyes were full of fighting spirit. Wow, great-grandfather, how is this big brother so powerful? A little girl in white, who was swinging her snow-white legs, asked curiously. Another little girl was counting with her fingers. According to the number of acupoints expanded, it should be about 15. 800 trillion dragon power. How is he so powerful now? The white-haired old man stroked his long beard and looked more and more interested. Interesting, very interesting. This is the first time I've seen such a profound heart technique. That's right. According to the Tai sky concealing technique and supreme God possession, Lin Shen's total acupoint expansion multiplier had increased by 400%. In other words, Lin Shen's acupoint expansion ability was not 31,513 times, but 157,565 times. More than 150,000 times. He was invincible in the acupoint expansion area. Chapter 14:14. In Dragon City, the various forces that were watching the battles on the Monster Genius list were dumbfounded. They couldn't go to 3 Pristine's palace to watch the battles, but every battle was projected in Dragon City for the forces that were there to watch. Lin Shen's 30,000 times expansion naturally became the most eye-catching battle. While everyone was still wondering what kind of trump card Lin Shen had, he had single-handedly received the sword of Jing Long, who was close to a super monstrous genius. He had even brutally beaten Jing Long the entire time, directly suppressing him. Before I met Lin Shen, I already thought that I'd seen the world, but after seeing this guy, I feel that everything I've seen before is simply too weak. Is he human? He can beat Blood Azura Jing Long by 30,000 times expansion? Bullshit. King lost everything I bet on him when he was expanding his acupoints. This is crazy, this world. With this Lin Shen, there is no trace of him in this world. Yuexa's mouth opened slightly, so this is young Master Lin Shen's strength. Just how strong is he? How many more secrets is he hiding? She recalled the little demon empress words. Don't ever try to see through him. He's always full of surprises. Is this the man that the goddess fell in love with? As expected, I can't help but admire him. In the audience, the handsome young man in white shook his head and sighed. Expanding his acupoints by 31,000 times was already ridiculous enough. Who would have thought that he was still hiding something? Where did this monster come from? Senior brother, what will happen if you meet him? The mischievous girl from Divine Flame Palace asked curiously. The young man in white smiled. I don't know. Maybe I could be on par with him, or maybe I'm not his opponent at all. His foundation hasn't been fully revealed yet, so I can't see through him. However, the other people in the palace won't let him go this time. After saying that, he glanced in a certain direction. Elder Wanhua looked at the leisurely young man in the audience, who had his hands behind his head and couldn't help but sigh, as expected of the person who could save that lord. This Lin Shen was indeed the most amazing person in the world. His Wanhua Palace didn't make the wrong choice. With a total acupoint expansion of 157,565 times, he didn't panic at all. Even Lin Ping and Old Shun and the 3 sword domain elders couldn't help but ask curiously. Lin Shen, how many times have you expanded your acupoints? Lin Shen raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, the number of times I expand my acupoints is directly proportional to my handsomeness. The more handsome you think I am, the more I expand my acupoints. However, isn't it obvious to ask how many times the most handsome person in the sacred boundary can expand his acupoints? TSK. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Shameless. Lin Pingon made a face. The elders looked at each other, shook their heads, and laughed. From the looks of it, the stairway tournament would not be a problem for him. The battles on the genius list were too much for everyone to take in. Although Lin Shen's appearance was ridiculous, this was a battle between the top geniuses of the sacred boundary. Every monster's genius had endless opportunities. They were clever and resourceful. When they stood at the top, there would never be a lack of people to look up to. None of the monstrous geniuses lost their brilliance because of Lin Chen's appearance. On the contrary, their brilliance became more and more dazzling. This time, the genius list made everyone realize the tide of the era. The genius list, each generation was stronger than the previous one. The little demon empress also stood out in the stairway tournament. When Lin Chen infiltrated the sacred prison, the little demon empress talent exploded. He expanded her acupoints one after another, and each expansion was no less than 95 times. She was close to the ranks of the super monstrous geniuses. Now, after expanding her acupoints 7 times, she had entered the stairway tournament's preliminaries. If not for Lin Chen's interference, to outsiders, she and Zhao Mingyu would be a match made in heaven. But now, everything was unknown. Many people looked at the Yi family, where Madame Yi Li and Madame Yi were. Madame Yi, if Lin Chen loses, you'll be pushing a peerless genius out of the family. An 8th grade almighty seemed to be teasing, but he was actually probing. Yi Li Xue took a sip of the fragrant tea. Her beautiful cold dimples were especially calm. She completely ignored the 8th grade almighty. This reaction made many almighties click their tongues in wonder. Even now, she could still sit still like this. As expected, this woman had already planned everything. No matter if Lin Chen or Zhao Mingyu won, if she could marry off her daughter, the value and potential she would get back would be immeasurable. As expected of the woman who revived the Yi family. She's really good at scheming. Soon, the stairway tournament's preliminaries were completed. The second round of drawing lots immediately began. There was no time to rest. This was one of the special features of the stairway tournament. It increased the instability of the battles. Whether one could recover from the previous battle was also an important part. In the second round, Lin Chen's opponent was even more unexpected. It was another important person, one of the top 10 beauties of the genius list, Yu Xian. This woman was not a flower vase. In fact, she was famous many years before Yi Qingwu. Her beauty and strength were on par. Lin Chen stood up and entered the palace. Prince Lin Chen, nice to meet you. Yu Xian's dimples appeared in front of Lin Chen. He pretended to smile mischievously. Don't worry, I'm very gentle when I hit a beauty. I'll only hit you hard occasionally. Yu Xian did not blame Lin Chen. Instead, she felt an inexplicable sense of excitement. She was a natural genius. Every man around her was polite to her. They either pretended to be cold and arrogant, or they tried to curry favor with her. A young man like Lin Chen, who was outspoken, had a unique personality, and had a unique way of doing things full of obscenities, could not stop. Once again, the geniuses entered the battle dimension. In the Three Pristine's palace, a few 8th grade almighties were having a heated discussion. Yu Xian is an 8th grade almighty. She expanded her acupoints 1430 times, condensed her acupoints 170 times, and opened 55 holy acupoints. She's only stronger than Blood Shura Jinglong. I wonder if she can find out Lin Chen's background. I feel that he hasn't used his full strength yet. While chatting, an 8th grade almighty smiled at someone from the Myriad Flames Palace. Old man Myriad Flames, what do you think of this battle? Elder Myriad Flames shook his head and laughed. Why are you asking me? The 8th grade almighty smiled meaningfully. Aren't you very close to this kid? Don't you know some inside information? I don't dare to make wild guesses. No matter what happens to Lin Chen, my decision will not be swayed. This is also the decision of the Myriad Flames Palace. Seeing Elder Myriad Flames' resolute attitude, the 8th grade almighties were even more curious. What kind of bewitching potion did this kid give Elder Myriad Flames? Or did he really have a force behind him that even a Myriad Flames Palace had to bow down to? In a lava dimension, heat waves were surging all around. Lin Chen had just stepped in when a soft voice transmission entered his ears. Haha, young friend, my disciple is useless. I hope you can show mercy. It was an old woman's voice transmission. She should be Yu Xian master. Show mercy? That depends on whether she's willing to accept it. Uh, Chapter 14:15. Granny you, did you just send a message to this little guy? A pretty girl asked the old woman sitting at the Three Pristine's palace. The old woman touched the girl's hair and said, although your sister is called a super monster, this Lin Shun is not a simple person. To be honest, I can't see through him. The old woman's eyes became as sharp as a sword for an instant. This kid is the most terrifying type. Lin Shun was not in a hurry to attack. He sized up Uxin. She was also one of the top 10 beauties of the monster ranking, but she was more like a gentle fairy than the little demon empress. She was graceful and charming, and she was the type that became more and more elegant the more he looked at her. She was a completely different kind of beauty from the charming little demon empress. Lin Shun was more and more entranced as he looked at her. He clicked his tongue in wonder. Such a beautiful girl. Er's face blushed, and she covered her mouth and smiled. However, he sighed in the next moment. She's so beautiful. She'll cry for a long time if I punch her. Buzz. She waved her hand, and a purple ribbon fluttered in the moonlight. Uxin stepped on the moon and smiled like a fairy in the moon. Then please show mercy, Prince Lin Shun. Whoosh! The purple ribbon shot out, flowing with the aura of life and death. It was like a flash of light, crossing thousands of miles and surrounded by faint moonlight. It seemed to be very small, but it split the lava below in half. After opening all 40 Saint acupoints, Lin Shun grabbed with his hand, and the sky shook and space shook. Lin Shun actually managed to stop the purple silk in an instant, grabbing it tightly. It doesn't seem like it's enough to defeat me. Lin Shun smiled coldly, and with a flip of his hand, he wanted to pull Uxin into the close combat area. But who would have thought that the purple silk would actually wrap around him as if it had a mind of its own, tightly binding him? 9 binding heavenly seal. Uxin's hand seals changed, and her saint power turned into thousands of threads and bound Lin Shun, sealing him in a cocoon of light. Many people in the Three Pristine's palace cried out in surprise. Lin Shun is finished. He's too careless. Could it be that this brat is the type of person who is intoxicated by success? Uxin? Purple smoke damask can't escape once it's wrapped around you. Once it even bound a star-receiving cultivator alive and destroyed his saint body. In the end, only his spiritual body was left. While many mighty figures were exclaiming, only a small number of people had solemn expressions. Lava Plane. Grade 7 Sacred Artifact? Even in a Rank 8 sect, a Grade 7 Sacred Artifact was a sacred artifact. Aside from a handful of people, almost no one else possessed one. For Uxin to be able to wield a 7th grade sacred artifact, it was clear that her family had high expectations of her. Lin Shun smiled with great interest. It seems that if I destroy this thing, I can replenish the set essence that I spent on expanding my acupoints. Lin Shun activated 70% of his saint energy. TSK. Bang! The purple silk exploded, turning into fragments of light that filled the sky. The broken light gathered and once again turned back into the purple silk that wrapped around Uxin's snow-white arm. Her face was full of astonishment. Even this couldn't restrain him. Rumble. A pair of black wings formed by saint energy appeared behind Lin Shun's back, and his figure flashed in the air. Uxin waved her hand lightly, and thousands of flower petals poured down like a curtain of rain, forming a sea of flowers that enveloped Lin Shun. Every flower had the power to pierce through stars. Bang! 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 When the flower petals fell, the entire lava plain exploded with sparks as if they wanted to destroy the entire plain. Lin Shun clenched his fist and punched toward the sky. The saint energy in his fist had the power to overturn heaven and earth. TSK. Bang! A punch dispersed the flower petals that filled the sky. Immediately afterward, a cold light flashed like a dragon. Uxin pointed her finger again, and it was as fast as Saint energy, arriving in an instant. Many rank 8 sects were shocked and solemn. With their experience, they could see that none of this woman's cultivation methods or battle skills had such earth-shattering momentum. However, each one of them had an extremely powerful aura that seemed to have returned to one's original state. However, in the next moment, Lin Shun tilted his body slightly, and with ease, he managed to dodge that ridiculously fast finger beam. He even slashed his hand horizontally, and the 9-colored Saint energy sliced through Earth's shocking finger light like a blade. Prince Lin Shun, how long are you going to hide? Uxin stepped on the starlight and the moonlight and appeared behind Lin Shun like a ghost. She pointed her slender fingers at Lin Shun, and her orange tear finger techniques were as smooth as flowing water. Is Xin strength not enough for you to fight seriously? Uxin gritted her teeth and attacked Lin Shun with powerful orange tear cultivation techniques instead of retreating. Lin Shun suddenly smiled. You want me to be serious, don't you? With a shake of his shoulders, Lin Shun activated his cultivation technique and opened all of his Saint acupoints. Rumble. Uxin's eyes trembled when his Saint energy suddenly shattered the void within thousands of miles. Lin Shun raised his hand and threw a punch. The Saint acupoints in Tai space trembled violently, and endless Saint energy cut off the plane as he threw a punch. Chi. Rumble. This punch didn't have any fancy techniques, only the purest Saint energy. It destroyed all of Uxin's moves and battle techniques, forming a spinning fist wind that went straight for Uxin. Whoosh! As if it had a mind of its own, her purple scarf fluttered and floated up, blocking in front of its master. There was a shocking explosion, and the purple scarf was shattered into dust, scattering attribute light balls all over the sky. The light on Uxin's peach dress dimmed, and she was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Lin Shun's figure flashed, and he caught the beauty's slender waist. This plane was full of lava. Although her cultivation was high, she could still be disfigured temporarily if she wasn't careful. Lin Shun asked with a smile. It was a serious punch. How do you feel? After saying that, he used the Saint Dragon possession and injected a trace of Yin-Yang Dragon Qi into the beauty's body, stabilizing her injuries. With the cultivation of life and death realm, as long as there was enough Saint energy, she could recover very quickly. Uxin's jade face was bitter. Too powerful. I feel like I'm drowning in fear. If it weren't for the purple scarf protecting her master, she might not have woken up again, even with the protection of a 6th-grade Saint artifact. How can there be such a terrifying acupoint expansion realm cultivator in this world? He's so strong that it's against the rules. Uxin's heart was bitter. None of the top 10 beauties on the monster ranking were pretty, but when she faced Lin Shun, she felt a deep sense of powerlessness. It was like an insurmountable mountain in front of her. I admit defeat, Uxin finally surrendered. Lin Shun shrugged. Too lazy to be a gentleman. He let go of the beauty's slender waist, and with a wave of his hand, he took away all the attribute light balls. Purple light gathered, and the purple scarf appeared again. A 7th-grade Saint artifact was not so easy to destroy. However, it had been destroyed by Lin Shun once, and its light had dimmed. It would probably take a long time to recover with gold Saint origin coins. It could be considered a heavy blow. After watching this battle, a few powerful figures in the 3 Pristine's palace fell into a strange silence. Under their calm faces, there was an unprecedented storm. When Lin Shun attacked, just now, according to their perception, the fluctuation of Saint power was no less than 60 trillion dragon power. It was terrifying to think about it. What did this mean? Either he had taken a pill that could temporarily increase his cultivation, or he had used an extremely rare top-level secret combat skill. Either that, or he had used some kind of secret external force. The last possibility was the most difficult to accept for all the powerful figures. It was also the most terrifying and most likely possibility. That was his real acupoint expansion times was not 30,000 times, but more than 100,000 times. No, to be precise, it should be more than 120,000 times. Family head, Zhao shook his head and laughed. He found it hard to believe. 100,000 times acupoint expansion times? Are you writing a novel? Who are you trying to scare? Chapter 14:16. The battle between Lin Shun and Yu Xin was one-sided. Did he need to use external forces and elixirs? Not at all. That was an obvious fact. However, expanding his acupoints by 100,000 times was even more ridiculous. All the mighty figures refused to believe it. That was against the laws of nature. My cultivation is enough to support my mental state to perform the best alchemy. I wonder if I can refine divine pills that are at the peak of grade 7 or even grade 8. As Lin Shun returned to his seat, his heart was filled with anticipation. That's right. For Lin Shun, there were 3 ways to increase his strength. The first was to collect the essence of the set and upgrade the 4-piece God of War set. The second was to increase his basic cultivation. However, his acupoint expansion was too terrifying. If he wanted to condense his acupoints in a short period of time, he would need to accumulate more. The third was to improve his alchemy skills. The powerhouses that he brought back from the sacred penitentiary were ridiculously powerful. However, they were all injured and could not show their faces in public yet. If he could improve his alchemy skills, he could heal their injuries first. Even if he could only heal half of their injuries, it would be an unprecedented combat power. Host has consumed 99 top-tier cultivation techniques soul essences, integrating the system's alchemy syllabus. Lin Shen's original body and avatar quickly merged their memories. Lin Ping and stood by his side to protect him. Although he looked harmless, there was a strange glint in his eyes. In less than 3 days, the results of the 3rd round were out. Most of the people who made it to the next round were super freaks. Their acupoints were either close to 1,000 times or more. Every time there was a change on the list, it would cause a huge commotion in the outside world. Swoosh, swoosh. The list rolled again, and the list kept changing. All the freakish prodigies were looking forward to it. They were hoping that they would not encounter opponents that were too powerful. The rewards for the Stairway Heaven competition this time were different from the previous ones. Those who made it to the top 500 would have access to the battlefield of the 9 tribes. The battlefield of the 9 races was one of the most intense events in the history of the Saints' world. It belonged to an extremely vast spatial plane. Even the current humans could only create a single spatial entrance. They were unable to interfere with the plane too much. When the sacred boundary had first opened, the dragon race, the human race, the Azura race, the dark shadow race, the devil race, and the insect race had started a great war in the ancient desolate plain. To this day, no one knew the secrets of the first battle. The powerful cultivators who died back then became the opportunity for the young blood of the current generation. Due to the restrictions of the plane, after the Great Battle, the plane collapsed and could only allow powerful cultivators below a certain level to enter. For example, the human race would trigger a space-time storm if they entered the battlefield of the 9 clans with a cultivation base that exceeded the star reception realm. The chances of survival were extremely slim. Therefore, this time, the humans had selected the strongest people below the star realm on the genius roll. Anyone who could enter the battlefield of the 9 clans would gain far more than any experience in the outside world. But at the same time, the experts they had to face were even more terrifying. This was because in the current battlefield of the 9 clans, firstly, there was the existence of the Demon Clan. Secondly, every time it opened, there would be experts from various clans pouring in. Shwa, shwa, shwa. The glazed ranking list rolled rapidly. When the names appeared one by one, the monstrous talents were sad and happy. But more of the 8th grade almighties were paying attention to the situation of one of the candidates for the championship and the biggest dark horse, Lin Chun. As if a battle was inevitable, when Lin Chen's name stopped rolling, Zhao Mingyu's name also stopped. At this moment, everyone's expressions were extremely interesting. Zhao Mingyu of the genius role against Lin Chun of the genius role. They actually met, and it was the 3rd round. The two of them had not even reached the finals, and they were already facing each other. This battle was the focus of everyone's attention. The people of the Yi family and Zhao family all stood up and looked at Lin Chun, who only had Lin Ping on and the little demon empress by his side. Zhao Mingyu's eyes revealed the confidence and calmness of controlling the universe. Potential was potential, combat strength was combat strength. The two were two completely different things. Even if Lin Chun had a hidden card, he did not think that he would lose. Lin Chun exited the state of merging cultivation memories. When he opened his eyes, the corner of his mouth rose. They met so quickly? That's good. Some things are better settled in advance than holding it in. Lin Chun stood up and stretched his body. The little demon empress said with a rare, serious face, "If you really can't do it, just give up. The opponent has shown killing intent and obviously wants to kill you. My matter is a small matter. Your safety comes first." Lin Chun looked at the little demon empress in surprise. He stared straight at her, and after a while, he suddenly laughed and said, "Is this still the fearless little demoness that I know, the one who always wanted to cause trouble?" The little demon empress rolled her eyes at him. She was so charming and beautiful that even Lin Chun was stunned for a moment. He shook his head and laughed. "Huh!" Lin Chun snapped his fingers and stepped into the hall. "Don't worry. This time I will count your share and return it to the Zhao family and Yi family. Sword Region, Pill Region, 10,000 Flames Palace, and Realm Tower." Everyone sent sound transmissions to Lin Chun and told him not to fight head-on. Safety first, victory second. It was obvious that they recognized the gap between Lin Chun and Zhao Mingyu. Lin Chun touched the tip of his nose and laughed while shaking his head. "Why do I feel that everyone doesn't think highly of me? But forget it, it doesn't matter." Outside Dragon City, Class 66, and the others couldn't help but feel nervous. "Class Monitor, are you all right?" The opponent is in the life and death realm. The gap between the Saint realm is so big. Although Class Monitor is invincible, he is still too far away from that realm. "It's fine. Class Monitor is the best in the world." Class Monitor has surprised many people from the 9 prefectures. Class Monitor is like that, and this battle is also like that. Lu Lin Yu Lin Lin, and the other girls looked at each other and smiled. Only Yin Xinyun's beautiful eyes were looking at the light screen, and there was a trace of worry and doubt between her brows. She had a bad feeling in her heart. "Mingyu, wait." At this time, Patriarch Zhao stopped Zhao Mingyu, who was about to go down. "Take this item. When necessary, I allow you to use it." When Patriarch Zhao opened his palm, a small 9-color dragon was lying in his palm, like a spirit beast sleeping peacefully. This is the 9 Tribulations dragon energy." "Father, what do you mean?" Zhao Mingyu was shocked. He was both surprised and ecstatic. The 9 Tribulations dragon energy was the Zhao family's treasure. Only by refining the 9 Tribulations dragon energy could the Zhao family's secret technique be maximized. Only by refining the 9 Tribulations dragon energy could one be called the patriarch of the Zhao family. The significance of this was equivalent to him, Zhao Mingyu, obtaining the qualifications to inherit the position of patriarch. "When necessary, I allow you to use this item. My Zhao family's reputation and grand plan cannot be lost here." Patriarch Zhao's face was serious. Zhao Mingyu smiled and said, "Father, don't worry. Even if I don't have the 9 Tribulations dragon energy, I will definitely be able to kill this person." Patriarch Zhao's eyes were deep as he looked at Zhao Mingyu's back. In order to ally with Yi family's Yi Lixue, he had put in a lot of effort behind the scenes. Others might not know, but he, Patriarch Zhao, knew Yi Lixue's shocking secret. This woman's bloodline was extremely strong. Yi Lishua's mother was once related to the legendary True God, and the little demon empress who had inherited Yi Lishua's bloodline was even more worthy of their Zhao family to fight for. Once Zhao Mingyu and Yi Qingwu had a descendant, that kind of existence could revitalize their Zhao family with their own strength. My Zhao family will not lose this battle. No matter what this person's background is, he cannot become a hindrance to my Zhao family. Chapter 14-17. This battle was the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone was looking forward to it. The biggest dark horse in the history of the monster rankings against one of the top super monsters. Everyone recognized Lin Chen's potential, but they also knew how terrifying Zhao Mingyu was. He was the next head of the Zhao family, a peerless monster of the current generation. He could fight beyond his level as easily as eating and drinking. He was regarded as a monster who was qualified to be in the top 1,000 of the monster rankings. The trump cards of such a person were almost impossible to be lower than anyone else's. Similarly, Lin Chun was the same. This lunatic who had expanded his acupoints by 30,000 times and challenged the monster rankings enforcers. Who could guess how many trump cards he had hidden? This battle was the most interesting and suspenseful battle of them all. Whether it was the people of Dragon City or the mighty figures, they all wanted to see who would win. Both sides entered the battlefield. This time, the battle dimension was actually teleported to the giant elephant dimension. The gravity and sturdiness of this dimension were 1,000,000 times stronger than the normal dimensions of the sacred boundary. Ordinary sages of level 3 could barely fly here, let alone fight. However, for Lin Chun and Zhao Mingyu, it was a piece of cake. When both sides were suspended in the air, an old figure flashed at the end of the dimension. It was the referee of this battle. This kind of battle was very easy to kill. The loss of either side was a loss to the human race of the sacred boundary. Clang! A long cry broke through the clouds. The golden halberd blade was like a crescent moon, and its sharpness soared into the sky as if there was a dragon coiling around it. Oh, rank 7 again. Lin Chen was surprised. Zhao Mingyu was a man of few words. He attacked with his halberd, sweeping across the sky. Clang! A saber light flashed and blocked the halberd. It split the clouds, leaving behind a dark red saber mark. Faced with the incoming halberd, Lin Chun swung his saber, which was filled with bloody flames. The saber light flashed, and the halberd light flashed. The two of them had just entered the battle dimension and were already fighting fiercely. This time, Lin Chen finally didn't hide his saint power. All his saint acupoints were fully opened, and he was carefree. Every saber attack split the clouds and split the stars. Clang! After a round of collision, both sides were evenly matched, and both were forced back 10 steps. At this moment, Lin Chun held a saber in his hand. His domineering aura surged wildly, and his wild aura overflowed in all directions. His saber was completely dark red, like a demon saber dripping with blood. The saber's body flowed with a sharp aura that could destroy everything. The saber's hilt was inlaid with a dragon's eye. With a slight blink of the dragon's eye, it could release flames that could burn the sky, destroy everything, and look down on the world. It was the grade 7 saber weapon Absolute Blaze that Lin Chun had forged using Old Man Xin Yuan. All the mighty figures were shocked. This kid's saber is also of the 7th grade. It's here. Lin Chun is finally getting serious. F***CK. After waiting for so long, this brat is finally going to show his true strength. Too strong. He was actually on par with Zhao Mingyu. Is this kid still human? I have never seen such a ridiculous aperture-augmenting cultivator. It's not over yet. Neither Zhao Mingyu nor Lin Chen used any martial arts or battle skills. The moment the two started fighting, Lin Chen's performance caused everyone in Dragon City and 3 Pristine's palace to explode. When Zhao Mingyu opened 56 Saint Acupoints, he could unleash 22 trillion dragon power points. After reaching life and death realm, 6 Saint Acupoints increased his Saint Acupoints by 3 times, which was 88 trillion to 90 trillion dragon power points. Lin Shun, on the other hand, expanded his Saint Acupoints by 31,513 times. With the extreme God's possession talent, the number of Saint Acupoints increased by 4 times. The actual multiplier was 157,565 times. 157,565 times the explosive power was 78 trillion to 790,000 dragon power points. That's right, in terms of battle power, Zhao Mingyu's cultivation was obviously higher. However, the attributes of each strand of Saint Acupoints in Lin Chen's Saint Acupoints were ridiculously strong. The reason was simple. It was Lin Chen's elemental attributes. Lin Chen's 9 elemental attributes had increased by a few hundred times before and after entering the holy prison. A few hundred times didn't seem like a lot. In the eyes of life and death realm geniuses, the increase wasn't much. However, after being magnified by Lin Chen's abnormal acupoint expansion, the increase was immediate. It could completely make up for the difference of 10 trillion dragon power points. However, even so, from life and death realm onwards, Saint Realm cultivation couldn't be measured purely in terms of strength. After life and death realm cultivators were tainted with life and death chi. Especially with the addition of death chi, their lethality was even greater. Your acupoint expansion is indeed fishy. However, you still have to die. Your ending won't change. Zhao Mingyu sneered. His halberd was like a flash of light as it pierced more than 1,000 times in an instant. Clang, clang, clang. Lin Shun swung his halberd. His blade aura was so dense that the so-called million times gravity couldn't affect the two of them at all. What's going on? Is there something wrong with his blade? When my soul-slaying halberd gets close to his blade, it will pause for a moment. Seeing that the situation had changed, Zhao Mingyu changed his halberd technique. The 20 mid-grade odd crystals and 2 high-grade odd crystals in his body shone brightly. Sky Wolf Slaughter. The halberd slashed down, and the halberd turned into a rolling sky wolf that pounced over with overwhelming momentum. Lin Chen's aura fluctuated. The 40 Saint points were like billions of galaxies, swallowing the world. He swung his blade and slashed horizontally. Clang! Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying blade aura soared into the sky. Lin Shun slashed out a snow-white blade aura that was spinning at an extremely fast speed. It was accompanied by the blazing light of a grade 7 weapon. That's all you got? Do you think I'm a trash outside? Zhao Mingyu sneered, the moment before the blade aura collided with the sky wolf. Chi! Boom! There was an explosion as the blade aura exploded. The rapidly spinning blade aura exploded and turned into endless fragments of light that filled the sky. The terrifying blade aura fragments were like a gale or a shower that instantly enveloped the sky wolf. Boom! 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 The blade aura fragments crazily struck the holy light sky wolf and cut it into pieces. This blade aura not only contained Lin Chen's saint power, but also his spirit fragments. It actually crushed the sky wolf's halberd head-on. The remaining blade aura fragments instantly twisted toward Zhao Mingyu. This blade technique has some tricks up its sleeve. Zhao Mingyu snorted coldly. He had no choice but to unleash his attack. Rumble. As if the sky suddenly collapsed. 1,000-acre golden fist smashed down. Clang, 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 clang. All the blade aura fragments were crushed into nothingness by the golden fist and flew toward Lin Shun. The light was dazzling, and the fist's momentum was unparalleled. It was as if it represented the endless power of the heavens, and it was going to crush everything. Zhao family's intermediate orange grade technique, Vajra heaven-suppressing fist. This is Zhao Mingyu's true strength. It's too demonic. He just used a secret technique and immediately used an intermediate orange grade technique. The spectating sages outside Dragon City sucked in a breath of cold air. If it were them, they would have died many times over. However, the next moment, Lin Chun, who was under the Vajra heaven-suppressing fist, suddenly slammed his palm toward the sky. Rumble. Flames engulfed the area, and it was earth-shattering. The 100,000-foot-long fire seal burned and burned the sky and the earth. There were actually 9 layers of fire seals stacked together and formed a giant burning palm. It was extremely domineering and shook the heavens. All the mighty figures were shocked. That aura made it seem as if nothing in the world could suppress Lin Chun. It was as if he was telling everyone that if Zhao Mingyu wanted to represent the heavens, then he, Lin Chun, would destroy the heavens. One fist and one palm collided with each other. Chapter 14:18. Inside the Mammoth Plain, when the sky and earth were turned upside down, the aftershocks that erupted revealed the shocked expressions of the monstrous geniuses from the Divine Flame Palace. Because the palm that Lin Chun used was their Divine Flame Palace's 9-layer burning sky palm. They weren't surprised that Lin Chun knew the 9-layer burning sky palm. After all, he was so close to the goddess. What shocked them was that Lin Chun's 9-layer burning sky palm was much stronger than theirs. In fact, the power of his attack was close to that of their senior brothers present today. Inside the Mammoth Plain, the 9-layer burning sky seal pushed forward. Lin Chun's burning sky palm broke Zhao Mingyu's Vajra heaven-suppressing fist head-on. Fire could be metal. Lin Chun dissolved the fist with his element. This peerless mid-orange grade technique finally began to show its shocking power after Lin Chun expanded his acupoints. High-grade techniques were peerless treasures, but it also depended on the cultivation of the user. In comparison, the burning sky palm that Lin Chun used earlier was nothing. Swoosh! Bang, bang, bang. Zhao Mingyu swung his halberd diagonally and destroyed the remaining power of the 9-layer burning sky palm. A pair of wings grew out of his back. The pair of wings had snow-white feathers fluttering in the wind. They were extraordinary and beautiful. With a slight flap, he entered the void like a bolt of lightning and instantly appeared behind Lin Chun. This pair of wings was another 7th-grade sacred artifact. As if he could predict the future, Lin Chun slashed his saber diagonally behind him. The saber and halberd collided, and sparks flew. Holding the saber with both hands, Lin Chun slashed at Zhao Mingyu as fast as he could. The two of them fought in close combat. Neither of them retreated. Zhao Mingyu used his cultivation to unleash continuous attacks. Lin Chun used his spirit awakening to increase his instantaneous attack speed to sense the direction of his attacks. Coupled with his strong cultivation base, the two of them fought head-on. The two of them turned into afterimages that flashed across the entire plain. 2 pairs of black wings appeared behind Lin Chun's back. They were as strange as demonic wings. Both the white and black wings were ridiculously fast. The two of them fought from the sky to the ground, not stopping for even a moment. Lin Chun suddenly laughed. "This is your full speed? It seems that it's still not enough." As soon as his voice fell, there was a tearing sound, and 2 more pairs of wings appeared on Lin Chun's back. He looked like an 8-winged demon. It was extremely strange. Rumble. With a sonic boom, Lin Chun's speed suddenly exceeded Zhao Mingyu's control. He was actually unable to attack Lin Chun. On the other hand, Lin Chun's attacks were able to surround him. Zhao Mingyu could use the Grade 7 sacred artifact, Snowlight Feather, to unleash the speed of an intermediate orange rank movement technique. However, Lin Chun's 9 wings of the Heavenly Devil was also an intermediate orange rank movement technique. Most importantly, his intermediate orange rank movement technique was strengthened plus 15. If he used it at full speed, most of the nascent Star Realm cultivators would be left in the dust. In the past, using this movement technique would consume a huge amount of sacred power. Lin Shan could only use it at critical moments. However, now that he had expanded his acupoints by 31,513 times, he could completely support the terrifying consumption of sacred power. You want to suppress me with speed? Zhao Mingyu sneered and opened his palm. It turned into a huge, flaming fan. Grade 7 Sacred Artifact, Heaven Dazzling Demon Sealing Fan. It said that this fan can seal heaven and earth with one strike. It's made with the essence of Heaven Dazzling, 10 kinds of sealing techniques, and 9,000 kinds of sealing materials. It can seal life and death realm cultivators with one strike. The Zhao family even gave this to him. All the powerful figures were astonished. Grade 7 sacred artifacts were not cabbages that could be found anywhere. Only a few of the Grade 7 sects possessed them. There are also very few Grade 8 sacred artifacts. For a young monster to possess 2 Grade 7 sacred artifacts, it could be seen that the Zhao family was almost training him as the next head of the family. The heaven-dazzling, demon-sealing fan moved, and a hurricane swept across. Tens of thousands of sealing talismans flashed in the void like 100 dazzling flowers, sealing the space where Lin Chun was. Even Lin Chin's movement technique slowed down a lot. Oh, another good item. Lin Chun inexplicably became even more excited. The slash swept across and slashed toward him. Numerous sealing talismans fell from the sky, illuminating heaven and earth. Rumble. Zhao Mingyu's halberd danced in the sky with his left hand and the heaven-dazzling demon-sealing fan in his right hand. He was like a primordial sacred spirit. His figure was majestic, and every strike had the power to cover heaven and earth. Lin Chun was suppressed for a moment. His speed was no longer an advantage, but a disadvantage instead. What was even more frightening was that Zhao Mingyu's 2 Grade 7 sacred artifacts switched between attacks smoothly, and they were closely connected and coordinated with each other. This was a significant improvement brought by the spirituality of the Grade 7 sacred artifacts. A Grade 7 sacred artifact spirituality was beginning to show. It could maximize its support for its owner in battle, and it could release attacks in the most ingenious way during battle without affecting its owner. It was incomparably wonderful. It was as if Zhao Mingyu wasn't using 2 sacred artifacts, but had 2 super experts assisting him in battle. The power of a Grade 7 sacred artifact was fully displayed. Lin Chin's absolute flame saber let out an indignant hum, as if it wanted to fight to the death with the other party. A mere fan is nothing more than this. You're the only one who can give me some wind this summer. Clang! Lin Chun didn't use his saber, and when he put away his absolute flame saber, he clenched his fists, and a crimson battle spear appeared out of nowhere. The body of the spear was crimson red, and it was 9 feet long. Its awe-inspiring righteousness soared into the sky, and it was impervious to all evil. The sharp dragon aura spinning at the tip of the spear was like 2 dancing dragons, piercing through a large number of seals in the void. It was a Grade 7 sacred artifact, the demon-slaying spear. The sacred spear was impervious to all evil, and its sharpness could break through all kinds of barriers and seals. The young man's silver robe fluttered, and his black wings spread out. He stood upright with his spear like a demon king. His spear danced, and a spear thrust was like 100 dancing dragons, piercing through all the seals. All the prodigy's mouths twitched. F*CK. You're here too? Lin Shan also has 2 Grade 7 sacred artifacts. Many prodigies on the monster roll were so angry that they almost went crazy. Even if they had extraordinary backgrounds and were geniuses, their sects weren't strong enough to give them a Grade 7 sacred artifact. They couldn't even give them a Grade 7 sacred artifact. Dance of a True Dragon. Heavenly Dazzling Stars. The 2 of them wielded a spear and a halberd, stabbing and flicking, neutralizing and attacking. The chaotic battle had turned into a dazzling mess. Lin Shan used the sharpness of his spear to break through the seals and attack from behind. The dance of the true dragon was to gain the upper hand after attacking. The longer one resisted, the more powerful it was, and his demon-slaying spear happened to specialize in breaking seals and barriers. The battle returned to its original state. Thousands soul destruction. Stars flashed continuously, and a heavenly dazzling demon sealing fan swept out, and thousands of holy lights shone. 8-part burning dragon, celestial roar. 8 spiritual burning dragons rose above Lin Chen's head, and they roared the sky, shattering the galaxy. Bam! 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 A gigantic golden fist that shook the heavens smashed down furiously. The giant flaming hand broke through the sky and collided head-on. The entire giant elephant plane was turned upside down by the two of them. Whether it was the people in Dragon City, the various forces in the 3 Pristine's palace, the mighty figures, or the reclusive old monsters, they were all dumbfounded. No one would have thought that Lin Shan would be able to rely on his own strength to fight evenly with Zhao Mingyu. He actually did not show any signs of losing. He was ridiculously strong. Most importantly, this kid was still in the acupoint expansion realm. Chapter 1419. Zhao Mingyu can fight to a draw with a peak expanded aperture cultivator. That's too abnormal. Even if he retreats now, no one will say anything. Yeah, this Lin Shan kid has fully proven himself. Even if he retreats, everyone will be convinced. With his foundation, if he advances to the transformation realm, life and death realm, or even the star realm, how many people in the sacred boundary can stop him? Everyone's eyes were especially solemn. The stronger Lin Shan's current strength was, the more it represented the unimaginable heights he would reach in the future. It had been too long since such a heaven-defying genius had appeared in the human race. Inside the mammoth plane, the two fought fiercely for an hour before they each retreated. At this moment, both Lin Shan and Zhao Mingyu were still breathing steadily, not showing the slightest sign of fatigue. Lin Shan raised his eyebrows and laughed mockingly. What? You suddenly feel like you can't hold on anymore? I'm not afraid of endurance. If you're not convinced, let's continue. After fighting for so long, don't think you can beat me. You're still thousands of miles away from me. Zhao Mingyu released the shining heaven demon sealing fan, and his hand seals suddenly changed. 9 streams of dragon chi flew out of Zhao Mingyu's body like giant dragons. When they hovered high in the sky, they emitted a brilliant dragon's might, shattering mountains and rivers with a roar. Zhao Mingyu's aura began to soar. Although his Saint Acupoint did not change, the life and death chi in his Saint Force approached the peak of life and death realm. His appearance began to change greatly. Horns grew on his head, and scales covered his body. His cold and arrogant appearance became extremely evil, and his pair of green eyes were overflowing with killing intent. Although he seemed to be in a state of chaos, Zhao Mingyu was incomparably calm. All of this originated from the effects of his Heart Sutra and bloodline. All the 8th grade experts were amazed. Some seemed to recall some terrifying experience, and their facial muscles twitched slightly. Sure enough, he still made a move. Zhao family's 9 Dragons art is still so domineering. This Heart Sutra can only be fully used by those above the star realm. Although Zhao Mingyu's cultivation base is only at the life and death realm, his aura is not inferior to many of Zhao family's veteran star realm experts. When the entire Zhao family saw Zhao Mingyu use this art, their expressions became much calmer. Once the 9 Dragons art is used, this Lin Shan will definitely lose. The Zhao family's 9 Dragons art was famous even in the Heavenly Saint region, not to mention the various rank 8 families and sects. This heart mantra was obtained by the Zhao family's ancestor through a heaven-defying opportunity in a desolate ancient ruin. For this heart mantra, that ancestor even paid with half his life. In the entire Zhao clan, The number of people who could cultivate this mental cultivation method could be counted on one's fingers. Lin Chen was surprised. Oh, this mental cultivation method is not on the same level as the opponents I've seen before. This was a mid-orange tier mental cultivation technique. Intermediate orange level combat skills were extremely rare. Not many people own them on the genius ranking, let alone intermediate orange level mental cultivation techniques. Grade 8 forces would have at least one or two types of intermediate orange rank combat skills, which were considered as the ultimate cultivation method of the sect. However, not every grade 8 sect had a complete intermediate orange level mental cultivation technique. This sacred item was close to the peak of the sacred boundary. In terms of the techniques that had appeared in the history of the sacred boundary, there were only a few advanced orange level martial arts that had existed since ancient times. Under the premise that those extremely rare forces did not appear, intermediate orange level mental cultivation techniques could be considered the peak of the sacred boundary. As for advanced orange level martial arts, they completely existed in the legends. At least, in the history of the grade 8 forces, there were no records of any advanced orange level martial arts. As for the 9 dragons art, it could refine 9 types of dragon chi and absorb them into one's sacred meridian, causing one's sacred power to increase tremendously. It could even be cultivated to perfection. The human race could use the dragon race's mystical abilities. It was a heaven-defying mental cultivation technique that transcended races. This was also one of the reasons why the Yi family chose to have a marriage alliance with the Zhao family. This intermediate orange-level mental cultivation technique was the foundation of the Zhao family. Lin Chen, do you see the difference between us now? This is a realm that you will never surpass in your lifetime. Zhao Mingyu laughed evilly. His evil aura surged as he slammed his palm toward Lin Chen. Rip! Kaboom! The dragon chi dissipated, and the dragons danced wildly. The unskillful slap emitted a destructive wave that could destroy the world. Lin Chen instantly activated his body movement technique. For pairs of black wings spread out, and he instantly retreated. Rip! Bang! The slap hit nothing, but the entire giant elephant realm was shattered. The ley lines began to crack, completely unable to withstand the power of this attack. So powerful! With Zhao Mingyu's current state, I'm afraid that middle stage Na Xing, no, even late stage Na Xing might not be able to stop him. If this kid Lin Chen doesn't have a trump card, he's probably going to lose. The grade 8 powerhouses saw through the situation at a glance. They were not optimistic. The following battle would not last for long. Inside the giant elephant realm, luckily, my 9 heavenly demon wings are plus 15 strengthened. Lin Chen smiled casually. At this moment, the talismans that filled the sky shone with dazzling starlight. When they drifted down, it was like a gust of wind, enveloping Lin Chen. The space where Lin Chen was sealed. Ha! I'd like to see how you're going to retreat this time. When Zhao Mingyu's dazzling heaven-sealing magic fan delayed Lin Chen's movements, he laughed grimly. The halberd in his hand slashed down, and a heavenly wolf appeared again and pounced. However, the heavenly wolf kill this time was more than 3 times stronger than before. Lin Chen's spear pierced through the dazzling heaven-sealing magic fan seal, but he could not defend against Zhao Mingyu's second move. Clang! Saber energy soared into the sky. Lin Chen swapped his spear for a saber. With Juyin in hand, his domineering aura soared. When the corners of his mouth curled up, it tugged at everyone's heartstrings. From now on, it's time to show off my skills. Boom! As Lin Chen laughed, he held his saber and slashed diagonally. The blade split open an extremely beautiful saber energy. Its sharpness divided heaven and earth, spinning rapidly and slashing toward Zhao Mingyu. Is it this strange saber technique again? Before Zhao Mingyu could finish speaking, the saber energy trembled and split into 5. What? At this moment, all the mighty figures and Zhao Mingyu felt their scalps go numb. Chi! Bang! 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 When the 5 rapidly spinning saber energy exploded, the saber energy fragments exploded and filled the sky. In an instant, they twisted together and shattered Zhao Mingyu's heavenly wolf. What kind of technique is this? Zhao Mingyu was shocked and bewildered, dividing a battle technique into 5 moves at the same time, and its power did not decrease. How could there be such a strange ability in the world? Boom! When the heavenly wolf exploded, another wave rose before the first wave had even subsided. The entire mammoth plain was filled with howling gales that fluttered in the wind. Large snowflakes floated down like goose feathers. In the heavy snow, cold air rose everywhere, and frost was like a tide. Lin Chun strolled in the air. Under the heavy snow, he slowly walked over with his sword. His sword was 4 feet and 7 inches long, and the blade was as white as jade. Frost swirled around the tip of the sword, and the blade shone like an unpolished jade. Hidden in the bone-chilling cold of the sword was a sharpness that could pierce through heaven and earth. In the heavy snow, the elegant young man walked over with his sword. His hair and robes fluttered, and his aura was otherworldly. He was like a proud and unyielding sword sage of a generation. He had the handsomeness of a young man and the sharpness of a sword sage. Many female sky prides on the monster rankings were dumbfounded by this scene. Chapter 1420. All the mighty figures' mouths twitched. Another 7th grade weapon, and it was a 7th grade sacred sword. How many 7th grade sacred weapons did this kid have? However, the pupils of the mighty figures from the sword domain suddenly trembled. They felt a familiar feeling from Lin Chen's intent realm. 7th grade sacred sword, heaven freezing sword. It came from the hands of forger Jin Wuxia and 6-fingered Xin Yuan. The moment Lin Chun wielded the frozen sky sword, he changed the climate of the entire mammoth plain. The starlight from the 9 heavens formed a seal, and the mammoth plain gathered the power of the stars and condensed it on Lin Chen's sword. Lin Chun brandished his sword and rushed forward. Activating his movement technique, he charged into the sky. Lin Chun, I think you've lost your mind. You want to fight me with your acupoint augmenting realm cultivation? I, Zhao Mingyu, will accompany you to the end. Zhao Mingyu was furious. He attacked with his halberd and the heaven-shining demon sealing fan. Layers of seals appeared on top of his head, trying to seal Lin Chun. However, Lin Chun was like a straight sword, stabbing at Zhao Mingyu. His heaven-freezing sword became more and more powerful, like a star that had died hundreds of millions of years ago, emitting its last bright light. 9 dragons sky dance. Zhao Mingyu danced, creating layers of afterimages. He stabbed with his halberd and used a mid-orange level combat skill, which was even more powerful. The afterimages turned into roaring true dragons, each of them emitting an aura that terrified late-stage Star Realm cultivators. When the heaven-freezing sword was at its brightest, Lin Chun swung his sword at lightning speed and slashed. Instant light split shadow. Buzz! Heaven and earth trembled. A ray of starlight shot out like a crescent moon, becoming the most dazzling light in the world, tearing apart all the heaven-shining seals. In the 3 Pristine's palace, all the mighty figures and hidden experts from Sword Realm stood up. Look at this sword. This sword. It's definitely billions of starlight. It's perfect. This sword is flawless, without any flaws. This is the true realm of perfection. The sword saints were shouting crazily. It was as if he was intoxicated, as if he was crazy. They were crazy about the sword Dao, and this strike had surpassed the limits of any heavenly sword Dao that they had seen before. It had surpassed the limits of the sword technique itself. However, in the next moment, an even more shocking scene appeared. Boom! Swish! Swish! The starlight sword aura was like a flowing river of stars. When it trembled slightly, it actually split into 5. The sword cut through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and the 5 streaks of starlight disappeared in an instant, cutting down all the true dragons. Bang, bang, bang. The aftershocks of the sword lights bombarded Zhao Mingyu's body. While he urged his movement technique to retreat, he also waved his halberd to block the aftershocks of the sword lights. However, his defense was still broken through by the starlight. At the critical moment, he used the snowlight feather and the shining heaven demon ceiling fan to protect him. The starlight pierced through the two 7th-grade divine artifacts, causing them to lose their spirituality. Their radiance dimmed, and they were close to being scrapped. A large number of elemental light balls were scattered. Outside Dragon City, everyone was dumbfounded. It was a one-sided battle. The confrontation this time, Lin Shen actually overpowered Zhao Mingyu head-on with one move. Billions of starlight. This intermediate orange-grade sword technique from the Sword Realm had left an unprecedented mark in the history of the Heavenly Stairway competition. Lin Shen's enhancement function had increased the power of billions of starlight by more than 4 times. He also had the passive effect of the Supreme God Possession talent, which increased the power by 300%. His billions of starlight sword aura had not only reached perfection, but it had also increased the power by 7 times. Moreover, this was under the premise that the instant light split shadow was not included. Even if the Zhao family's 9 dragons art was powerful enough to transcend races and fuse with dragon blood, it was still no match for Lin Shen's terrifying multiple enhancements. In the 3 Pristine's palace, Yu Exen, who was sitting in the front row, opened her mouth slightly. Was this Prince Lin Shen's true strength? How terrifying! Apart from the top 2,000 on the Heavenly Genius ranking, there were not many monsters here who could be compared to him. The Zhao family and the others were burning with anxiety. How did this kid still have so many tricks up his sleeve? Could it be that the Zhao family would be defeated today? Patriarch Zhao's deep eyes seemed to be able to see through everything and see the other side of the void. Mingyu, you have no reason to lose this battle. In the giant elephant realm, seeing the attribute light balls scattered all over the sky, Lin Shen was not in a hurry to collect them. Instead, he retreated a short distance. He could sense with his mind that after Zhao Mingyu was injured, his aura had increased instead of decreasing. Lin Shen, you forced me to do this. No one can save you today. Zhao Mingyu roared fiercely. His flesh and blood were torn open, but they were constantly healing as his saint power flowed. A 9-colored dragon aura began to surround Zhao Mingyu and wander into every inch of his flesh and blood. In the 3 Pristine's palace, the expressions of many rank, 8 Almighties were particularly solemn. Things had gone beyond their expectations. If this continued, they would be in big trouble. Isn't that the 9 Tribulations dragon aura that the Zhao family specially refined? Damn it, the 9 Tribulations dragon aura is exclusive to the patriarch of the Zhao family. If that bastard Zhao Lianguang uses this thing, even I might not be able to defeat him. He actually let his son use it. Does he have any shame? I suggest that we stop this battle and rearrange the allocation. Isn't this against the rules? The various Almighties questioned Zue Lao Wang and the others who were in charge. Zue Lao Wang stroked his beard and frowned, saying seriously, "Strictly speaking, the 9 Tribulations dragon aura is one of the methods of the contestants. It's not considered an external force that violates the rules." As soon as he said that, the corners of many Almighties' mouths twitched slightly. Then, what was the point of fighting? The 9 Tribulations dragon aura was the dragon aura that condensed the light of life of 9 supreme primordial dragons when they were on the verge of death. It was the dragon aura at its strongest and most flourishing. It was so precious that it could be described as priceless. Not only did it require manpower and a lot of material resources, but it also required timing. Normally, it was impossible to buy this item at all. When the person who cultivated the 9 dragons' arts refined this item, whether it was his strength or cultivation, it would skyrocket. With the help of the dragon aura, his mental cultivation method would transform to an extremely strong level. In front of this kind of overwhelming power, This battle was at a fatal disadvantage to Lin Shun. But at the same time, there were also many experts and reclusive old monsters who cast their gazes in the direction of Patriarch Zhao. He did not move at all, and had no intention of taking it back. Zhao Yingguang, this guy, is a profiteer who doesn't get up early without benefits. He dared to use this item on his son. Something's not right. This is not a simple marriage. The benefits involved are even enough to make Zhao Yingguang use this thing. Some almighties looked at the little demon empress and the Yi family. Their eyes flickered, and everyone was guessing and thinking. Even Madame Yi Lixue of the Yi family revealed some surprise in her cold and elegant prophecy. She did not expect the Zhao family to fight to this extent. Senior Zue Lao, I don't agree to this. This item is unfair, and it's not fair to Lin Shun at all. Elder Wanhua couldn't bear it anymore. He stood up and sent a sound transmission to the direction of the Three Pristine's palace. You stubborn old men, can you not blindly operate with your eyes open? At this time, the three elders of the Sword region also spoke. Chapter 14:21. It's one thing to use elixir techniques, but isn't this against the rules? What are the rules of the stairway tournament? If you don't stop, then stop fighting. I'll go in and fight Zhao Mingyu. This is bullying Lin Shun too much. When I was young, I only called for people of the same realm to fight. What is this Zhao family doing? Bullying? The big shots of the sword realm stood up and glared at him. The trillion starlight that Lin Shun displayed just now could be said to have won the admiration of the big shots and seniors of the various sword regions. Now that something had happened, they were all on Lin Chen's side. In all fairness, the Nine Tribulations Dragon Shi was too much. Sword Realm wants to force us to retreat? A bald old man who was hosting the stairway tournament laughed sinisterly, revealing his killing intent. CK your mother. What are you pretending to be, old baldy? You were just lucky to break through to the heaven-opening realm last time. What are you so arrogant about? Your eyes are as big as a cow's egg. I can't beat you in a one-on-one fight, and I can't beat you in a group fight. Stop the battle quickly. The Sword Realm Sword Saints were extremely hot-tempered. They did not give him any face at all. They rolled up their sleeves and carried their scabbards, looking indifferent to life and death. The bald old man glared at them. Come on. Do you think I'm afraid? Come on, let me see how strong you are after breaking through to the heaven-opening realm. Before you broke through, you were nothing in front of my brothers. You're so arrogant. Come on, do you think the people of the Sword Realm are afraid of you? I'll kill you in one move. What's there to say? There are 17 of us. Can you kill me in one move? Can you kill us in one move? If you kill us in one move, I'll kowtow and apologize to you on the spot. The Three Pristine's palace was in chaos. When the geniuses who had been eliminated or had not participated in the battle saw this scene, they all looked as if they had seen a ghost and frantically retreated. When these veteran powerhouses fought, the 9 lives of the younger generation would not be enough. Many 8th-grade mighty figures blushed with shame. What method did this Lin Shun use to make the mighty figures of the sword domain support him like this? If this continued, both the young and the old would start fighting. Who in the 36 domains didn't know about the Sword Realm? No, don't be in such a hurry to quarrel. Maybe we don't need to stop the fight. Look at that kid. At this moment, Zue Lao Wang exclaimed. When everyone looked at the light screen in the Three Pristine's palace, the corners of their mouths twitched. In the Mammoth Plain, Zhao Mingyu, who had refined the 9 Tribulations Dragon Shi, was like a remnant beast of the great wilderness. 9-colored dragon Chi coiled above his head, and his aura covered the heavens and the earth. He was so powerful that he was like a peerless dragon that had come into being. In front of Zhao Mingyu, Lin Shun was as tiny as a baby in front of a strong adult. However, Lin Shun's reaction was extremely strange. He didn't show any fear, nor did he show any serious or frightened emotions. Instead, he opened his mouth wide and formed an O shape. Even drool was falling from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were filled with ecstasy and excitement. He wiped the sparkling drool from the corner of his mouth and even swallowed his saliva. The corners of his mouth curled up crazily as he swallowed his saliva crazily, making everyone's scalp tingle. F*CK. What is this kid trying to do this time? He doesn't look like he can't beat him at all. He's obviously looking like he wants to cause trouble. That expression was extremely similar to a 1,000-year-old pervert who had discovered a naked jade person. It was like an old bachelor who had been thirsty for 10,000 years had seen a bridal chamber. Many demonic female prodigies trembled. The feelings of admiration that had just arisen in them immediately vanished into thin air. This Lin was downright handsome when he was handsome. However, when he was flirtatious, he was deranged. Just looking at his eyes gave one goosebumps all over. Crazy. This kid must be crazy. Oh no, Zhao Mingyu is moving. All the mighty figures exclaimed in shock. In the mammoth plain, Zhao Mingyu had broken through to 57 holy points at this time. The Nine Dragons' arts had climbed to the extreme, causing his holy power to far surpass the ordinary perfect life and death realm. Zhao Mingyu was surrounded by nine-colored dragon aura. He casually struck out with his palm, and it was like 9 dragon claws sweeping over. Lin Chen's shoulders shook. He activated the odd crystals and raised his hand to strike. The 9-layer burning sky palm erupted again and struck Zhao Mingyu head-on. Boom! The 9-layer burning sky palm split into 5, causing the divine flame palace monster to be fuming with anger. Could this kid also split this move into 5 moves? Chi! Boom! 1 palm and 1 claw, shattering everything in the mammoth plain. With the power of Lin Chen's instant light split shadows talent, it was enough to shake most perfect star realms. However, there was still a gap when facing Zhao Mingyu, who had absorbed the 9 calamity dragon aura. The 9-layer burning sky palm exploded into flames. Lin Chen held his sword and slashed horizontally. Billions of starlight slashed over and finally shattered the 9-dragon claw. Chi! Boom! Zhao Mingyu attacked with his halberd. At this speed, there was no way to react. Snap! When the crisp snap of fingers reverberated, Zhao Mingyu suddenly revealed a painful and ferocious expression when his halberd was in mid-air. This caused his attack rhythm to slow down for a moment. Lin Chun retreated rapidly and slashed out with the sky freezing sword, drawing out a long sword light to strangle Zhao Mingyu. Clang, clang, clang. When Zhao Mingyu blocked all of Lin Chen's attacks, he said fiercely, "What did you do, kid? Why are my saint acupoints and blood uncontrollable?" Lin Chen, who had retreated to the side, smiled casually. "So, why are you so obedient? Do you really think I used all my strength just now?" When Lin Chen smiled evilly, Zhao Mingyu's pupils suddenly constricted. His lower abdomen suddenly split open with blood splattering everywhere. What was even more terrifying was that this wound continued to expand, and Saint blood kept flowing out. What was going on? This move of Lin Chen's made everyone dumbfounded. Opening his palm, a 9-colored starlight condensed in Lin Chen's palm and spun into a wheel, finally becoming a star that floated in the air. Host has activated the super chaotic talent 12 times, activating the destructive talent for 5 million high-grade talent points consumed. Holding the 9-colored star in his hand, Lin Chun smiled faintly, looking very flirtatious. "Zhao Mingyu, I give you 250 points for this sparring partner of yours." Lin Chen's words caused a huge commotion, and the powerful people in the 3 Pristine's palace opened their mouths slightly. Sparring partner? Could it be? Could it be that this kid treated Zhao Mingyu as a sparring partner to advance to the Expanse Cavern realm? Could it be that he had not used his true trump card from the beginning to the end? That's right, it was a sparring partner. In the battle just now, Lin Chen's other trump cards and trump cards were completely useless. He was completely relying on his pure cultivation to fight with him. It was very simple, Zhao Mingyu was very suitable to be his sparring partner. After breaking through to the perfect aperture enlargement stage in one go, Lin Chen's cultivation was no longer as weak as before, and he was able to fully utilize his strength. However, he was still unable to perfectly control his strength as he had previously. For example, under the same power, a rock could be broken by a fist. But if one could control his own power accurately enough, he could break the rock with just a finger. Lin Chen was exactly like this. He needed a sharpening stone to gradually reveal his sharpness. And Zhao Mingyu was this sharpening stone that could sharpen his power even more. Now, his sparring partner task was completed. Chapter 1422. Lin Chen's killer move was starting to reveal itself. Lin Chen waved his hand, and the nine-colored starlight transformed into a stream of colorful light. It was as beautiful as a shooting star, and in a flash, it split into 5. It was the first 9 tribulation star after acupoint expansion. Zhao Mingyu's pupils trembled. That gorgeous 9 tribulations star actually made him feel the threat of death. If he was in his normal state, he wouldn't be afraid. But now that he had Lin Chen's super chaos and extinction split creation inherent skills, especially after the upgrade of extinction split creation, it was simply terrifying. Not only would his injuries not heal, but they would also worsen as time passed. It was simply a weapon to kill saints. The shining demon ceiling fan protected its owner again, fanning out countless talismans to slow down the 9-colored starlight. Zhao Mingyu gritted his teeth, and all the saint acupoints in his body exploded. He forcefully broke out of the influence of super chaos and waved his halberd repeatedly. His fists were like dragons. 9 dragons sky dance art. Golden Dipper heaven suppressing fist. Rumble. The 9-colored starlight bloomed and turned into a 9-colored light pillar that slowly rotated. 5 9-colored light pillars pierced through the sky and devoured all the dragon shadow. The giant elephant plane was completely split into 2 by the 9-colored starlight. In the 3 Pristine's palace, many Saint Heart and Soul Star experts were solemn. This killer move was too terrifying. Even Saint Heart experts could smell danger. Who would have thought that this was a killer move that a perfected acupoint expansion expert could unleash? Inside the giant elephant plane, Zhao Mingyu's shining demon ceiling fan was devoured into nothingness by the rotating starlight. A 7th-grade Saint artifact was destroyed just like that. Many rank 7 sects were shocked to see this. The snowlight feather behind Zhao Mingyu covered him all the way until its spiritual light dimmed. Only then did Zhao Mingyu barely manage to escape from the range of the 9 tribulation star. Zhao Mingyu spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His face was pale, and there were many wounds on his shoulders, chest, and body. Almost everyone could see that the outcome of the battle had been decided. However, what horrified the Saint Heart experts was that Zhao Mingyu's injuries hadn't healed. It should be known that as long as Saints above life and death realm still had Saint energy, their recovery speed would be extremely efficient and fast. However, not only did Zhao Mingyu's injuries not recover, they were even worsening and becoming more serious. That's very terrifying. This strange ability of Lin Chen's was equivalent to completely restraining all saints below the Saint Heart realm. This guy, how deep is he hiding? If Zhao Mingyu had used such a trump card earlier, he would have retreated a long time ago. Why did he keep it until now? The few mighty figures looked at each other in fear. Inside the 3 Pristine's palace, the Zhao family master clenched his fists. His calm demeanor concealed a monstrous fury. Everyone knew that the situation was hopeless. Zhao Mingyu coughed up blood and was about to speak. I vote, rumble. An ash-white talisman that blotted out the sky and covered the earth came into being. It began to explode, and Zhao Mingyu couldn't even open his mouth to speak. Roar. A dragon's roar shook heaven and earth, and an ancient sky raising Saint Dragon appeared. The Saint Dragon's breath filled the giant elephant plain, forming an extreme hell-heavenly prison that restrained Zhao Mingyu's 7th-grade saint artifact, Snowlight Feather, and Halberd. Rip! Lin Chun urged his movement technique and rushed over, throwing a punch at Zhao Mingyu. Rumble. Zhao Mingyu was hit by Lin Chun's punch. This time, he didn't cough up blood, but a large amount of dragon aura. The 9 Tribulations dragon aura in his body and in his saint cave was actually beaten out by Lin Chun. Then, Lin Chun's saint dragon quickly exhaled and absorbed all the 9 Tribulations dragon aura, forming a vortex that entered the dragon's body. Once the 9 Tribulations dragon aura entered the saint dragon's body, the dragon meridians instantly opened. It broke through the 900 billion dragon meridians mark, and its pure strength broke through 9 trillion dragon power. However, the speed of increase was still increasing, and it entered the 15 trillion and 20 trillion dragon power mark. It was faster than any of the Saint Dragon's breakthroughs in the past. Zhao Mingyu's arrogant and insufferably arrogant eyes finally revealed a bit of fear. That's right. Lin Chun's target was Zhao Mingyu's 9 Tribulations dragon aura. At first, he just wanted to use him as a sparring partner, but the 9 Tribulations dragon aura was a surprise. The purest dragon aura of the 9 primordial dragons before they died was a great supplement for any dragon. Otherwise, why would it be called a priceless treasure that could only be found by chance? This time, his Saint Dragon's strength had increased greatly. In the 3 Pure Palace, the mighty figures who sensed Lin Chun's intentions finally showed different expressions. It was extremely exciting. The Zhao family members were furious, and the Zhao family patriarch instantly tore through the void, wanting to force his way into the battle space. Rumble. A sword roared like a dragon, and 2 peerless sword sages of the sword realm cut off his movements and blocked his way. What are you doing? Are you trying to violate the rules? Your son hasn't even shouted his surrender yet. Why are you so anxious? You didn't say anything when you used the 9 Tribulations dragon aura just now. And now that you're at a disadvantage, you're playing tricks? Do you think we don't exist? The few big shots of the sword realm sneered. The Zhao family patriarch's expression was cold, and just as he was about to force his way in, rumble, a dragon's aura broke through the 9 heavens, and it could be clearly felt from the mammoth plain. Lin Chun's Saint Dragon had broken through 5 trillion dragon veins, and the Saint Dragon had broken through 50 trillion dragon power. Ha ha! Thank you, Zhao family, for sending me a golden sparring partner. I, Lin Chun, will give you a 5-star rating. Lin Chun laughed. When he released Zhao Mingyu, his eyes were dazed, and he was in a daze. Although losing the 9 Tribulations dragon aura did not affect his cultivation, he was still a step away from becoming the Zhao family patriarch. It was not perfect. Most importantly, it would be difficult for his cultivation technique to reach perfection. Received 6 intermediate strengthening points, 12 intermediate strengthening points, 500,000 top-tier spiritual power, 3,000 top-tier rune energy, 450,000 set essence, 900,000 set essence. Lin Chun crazily collected attribute light balls. This time, he destroyed one of Zhao Mingyu's 7th-grade sacred artifacts, and the other 2 7th-grade sacred artifacts were damaged in different ways. The set essence was simply off the charts, far surpassing any of Lin Chun's previous attempts. The winner of this match is Lin Chun. At this time, the referee announced the result and asked Zhao Mingyu to protect himself. When the result was announced, the Yi family's people were doubting their lives. The Zhao family's people were fuming with anger, toying with them, truly toying with them. From the beginning to the end, their Zhao family had been tricked by this kid, and they were thoroughly tricked. Lin Chun, this kid, completely had enough strength to kill Zhao Mingyu and win the competition head-on. But this kid treated Zhao Mingyu as a sparring partner. In other words, Zhao Mingyu had been fighting for so long, and it was all a sparring partner. What was even more infuriating was that their 9 Tribulations dragon aura had been snatched away. Just now, the Sword Domain's people were still fighting for Lin Chun, feeling that it was unfair for Zhao Mingyu to use the Nine Tribulations dragon aura. They even felt that he was bullying Lin Chun. Now that they looked at it, who the hell was bullying who? It was clearly Zhao Mingyu who was bullied miserably. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.